Stage 4 of the North American Challengers Elite is underway. Day 2 here in week number 1. My name is McCormiel. With me is Proper. We're jumping straight into game here. We had a bit of a schedule change, so normally you see a pre-show. However, we're just going to hop into Berlin Hardpoint to kick things off here. Map number 1, Electrify Steel, 705 Esports, both coming into this looking to not only win out here in Stage 4, Andy, but of course bode their chances for the playoffs.
Yeah, we actually got to see Iron Blood versus Electrify Steel here yesterday on this map mode combination, of which Electrify Steel ended up losing 184 to 250. They really did struggle for the pace that was being set up continuously from the submachine guns and that roster as a whole. But so far, it's looking like everything is coming up all aces for Electrify Steel. Got Panda currently on a 4 spree, and they won the rotation over towards New.
Nice little lead here for Electrify as you find yourselves in the bottom of P2. Up the staircase, Pentagram will go, looking to go ahead, dip, dive, dodge around the corner, but Pristini will run up, down the staircase. He goes back into the point. For a couple more kills here for 705. So his fame now goes to the top third. Will get cut off the streak that he was currently on. Everybody else from 705 Esports will gather themselves back around the points. A nice little break there to kick things off after a lackluster P1.
You absolutely need all of this time to be able to fight for this time if you are 705, because Electrify Steel seemingly are giving you a lot of space. So this is where you need to get a little bit more of a confirmation going ahead through the rotation. And when the gunfights that are basically dissuading all of Electrify Steel from getting inside of P2 for finessing for some scrap time, Casey Pander's going to give himself one maybe good look to be able to finesse for some scrap time. They will lose that fight, while Classic is making the proactive play trying to get into the back 3.
Good play by Pentagram allows the rest of the team to go ahead and spawn up all the way in the back. As you now can start making your way over towards the dock side and pushing out and towards the middle of the map, making sure fire gets cut off. Electrify Steel are set up in a nice position to get themselves some good time here on P3. Pentagram, though, going to get cut down by Royalty. Tries to go for a double, won't be able to pick up the kill. That's going to allow GodRx to go ahead, wrap back around in towards fire, and set up once again. Lead change now for Electrify Steel as they reclaim themselves some time. 705 Esports, bit of a slow push here, might net them at least a little bit of an advantage.
Yeah, and you saw Royalty slow up right there because they were on 5 in a row. Just was maybe one extra helping hand away from being able to get that 7th kill, and that glide bomb would have been influential to say the least, because 705 could absolutely use it. I mean, you can see them still spawning in essentially for the hardpoint itself, but they're not winning any of the gunfights. Pentagram for another 2, Pander picks up the opposite 2, and that means that they're going to be able to confirm those crane spawns and thus getting themselves quite an influential amount of time. Electrify Steel will be putting themselves at 100 points, if not just at it, ahead of this rotation over by 4. You can just see how proactively they're playing across the map as well, Alex. They're not winning gunfights not only while the hardpoint is active, but even leading into the next. They're giving 705 a lot of pacing issues.
Yeah, it's leads like those that you can't allow if you are 705, because Electrify Steel, this is a team that is coming off red hot after the performance in Toronto, but more importantly, Andy, the big kind of consideration factor here is a full 60 after hitting the hill only about twice. You're letting way too much time go up to chalk it, and with 2 players to 5 and 10 right now, it's not, growing great on the statistical scoring board either when you're talking about slaying. So as you start making your way back up the map, sure, you're getting yourself some time here, but really this has been more of an Electrify Steel showcase here as they've kept 705 out of this point more time than not.
Yeah, I mean, contesting this from the front, that's exactly what you want to see. Electrify Steel have been able to keep things mixy. Pander hits a flank around the back. He's able to find 2, confirm those spawns for Electrify Steel in the backside of the warehouse. So the script has literally flipped, where 705 thought that they were going to get themselves a solid amount of time here on 4. Get absolutely milliwapped from the front, work their way in towards the back, and Electrify Steel are going to be able to convert this into a successful amount of time, only just barely allowing 705 to be able to get 5. That said, you are headed in towards the next rotation. P5 is not exactly notorious for being held for a lot of time, but 705 are at least on the favorite side of the map. They just need to be able to win these gunfights and push past the 50-yard line.
Earlier on, Electrify Steel, a bit of a lackluster performance here the last time on Berlin. However, this time they have put their front foot forward. 120 to 56, the score here as we get to our about last hill on this first set of rotations. 14 and 10 here from Casey Pander is going to lead the way for his team and the lobby with 57 seconds along for time. As he starts to make a push towards the hill, Royalty will get chopped down. Not a lot of white arrows over towards the hill just yet, but as the frontward assault now starts to push forward, it is going to be Classic who walks away with 1. Trade's going to be good. Electrify Steel now push themselves into the back half of P5.
And you can just see just from top to bottom, and I mean how decisive really this one map has been. It's been all Electrify Steel. I mean, just look at even the hardpoint time, is that Pander's at 16 and 11 with just about a minute. Who's even there to try to rival that on the opposite side? You have Diamondcon at 13 and 11 with about 30 seconds with the hardpoint time. 705 are just unable to be existing inside the hardpoint. They've gotten broken every single time. If they're losing rotations, they then end up not able to truly break in, maybe keep about 10 seconds contested. Electrify Steel, again, are proactively moving throughout the map. They're always making sure they have these power positions, and that's quite abundantly clear going in towards the second, as they're already winning the rotations in towards P1. They're looking to set themselves up, while you already have Godorex watching the cross from mid.
Yeah, it was a nice little entry pick there from Pander that was able to get them in towards that point, but Godorex had made a flank play through the middle of the map that actually set that up, and it was a beautiful pinch to get them into P1 there. So, once again, the last time through was Electrify Steel, who garnered themselves so much time here on P1. They look to do the same yet again. Pentagram now looking for the flank, was able to find one, almost dips out with his life, but wasn't able to get out of dodge just in time. 20 seconds left, though. 705 still fighting for the scraps, and you can already see player number 5 in Pristini, who set up over towards P2, looking to get an early pick and maybe set his team up for some good time here. They're not out of it yet, but they're going to need at least to string 2 to 3 hills together to get it to about an even scoreline against this Electrify Steel roster.
Yeah, you just need to be sequencing almost everything. You need players like Classic to get activated, and to be fair, they were at one point about 5-12, have started to turn this game around, about a 13-19, but you need some more than just that. Diamondcon is looking to be that guy, currently on a 5 spree. But unfortunate to say, a stun will confirm that damage. Team nades are absolutely something to be fighting for themselves, and whether or not ESB knew that or not, they will be able to take Diamondcon off those streaks, and also a nice entry kill to be able to try to contest his hardpoint early.
With some good momentum there early on, but as Electrify Steel go ahead and retake in towards P2, they're looking to put this game out of reach. 30 seconds, still a ton of great time here for ES if they want to go ahead, running this up to about the 200-point mark. 705 still trying to swarm back around the point, but Fame with the SMG in hand will snap all the way onto the back. Beautiful kill by Pristini, gets traded out immediately after the fact, but now it's Pander who's inside of the point. Pentagram there as well, looking for the final trade, and we'll be able to find it. Diamondcon falls, and now the question is, does Electrify Steel still hold here and maybe rotate a bit, or does 705 keep pushing for the scrap time? They just got some unfortunate spawns.
You just want to try to hit through the hard point, but as you say, I mean, the spawns are still in towards the back, so you really have to rely on those players that are already further forward, and Classic will find those last 2 kills required to be able to get those 5 seconds, but you're still down by 100. You need to be able to make a decision and just fly across one of these choke points. They're one-dimensionally going to try to work their way in from the north side, try to get the spawns while also breaking the hard point.
Last time they were able to get a full 60 here. Electrify Steel now facing some adversities. Pristini with the automatons out towards the dock side. Oh no, Fame almost able to win the one-on-one there with the pistol, whip it out. Pristini will find the kill, but it's traded out yet again once. So really, Andy, what it comes down to now is just holding on to the last 25 seconds of time here, making sure you get these one-on-one gunfight wins out through the front, and not allowing 705 to even get any more time here. This has been a wildly dominant display here from Electrify Steel.
Yeah, it's all just too isolated at this point. 705 just playing with desperation, trying to find some semblance of control in some of these pressure points, trying to work their way in. And it's really just all of this, just twofold when you go back and you look at some of the replays for this map itself. Maybe you might be able to get in contestants last second, but no, it's Electrify Steel again. As you said, it just ate absolute dominance in display of power and versatility, I would say, across the entirety of the map, because it wasn't just really one hard point that they were good at. You know, typically when we say a team is absolutely executing everything necessary to have a very clinical performance on a hard point, it's really only done by like maybe 1 or if not 3 hills at the most. But this Electrify Steel roster throughout the entirety of this map number 1 Berlin versus 705, we're outclassing them on all different fronts. Whether it was the SMG lineup being able to find kills, it just always felt like that ES were in the right place at the right time to be able to get themselves a monumental amount of control in these hills.
Yeah, I mean, throughout the entirety of that game, really the one thing that was just kind of at least showing out in a really big fashion for me was at least 705 just did not want to play aggressive. It was the passive push over by P3 that didn't work. When they started to get aggressive into P2, they weren't winning the one-on-one gunfights. Even when they rotated out early, they just weren't getting themselves time, specifically over by P4. And I think that attributes to kind of the AR play that they just had a lack thereof inside this map, because, you know, when Electrify Steel wanted to hit through the front, they were able to hit through the front without contention, specifically by P4. And every time Electrify Steel was able to break in a hill, they never lost sight of that again, which allowed them to get 2 full 60-second holds on P3. And that was a big pain point, because if you allow free 60s like that, that's 120 seconds that Electrify Steel got for absolutely free. 705, it's not the fact that they seem lost on the map whatsoever. It's just the fact that that aggression wasn't there, and we're going to need to see that throughout the rest of the series. Yeah,
and there are the stats to back up all of those claims. You just look at the productivity that is able to be brought by Electrify Steel, 22-19, 22-18 for Fame and Panda, respectively. That is an AR flex along with an AR as well, and then Pentagram able to absolutely flourish in all of that. 26-19, 19 not traded kills with about 2,700 damage, which is almost that island player throughout the entirety of it as well. When you look at all the hill time, again, Panda, Fame, to exist inside that hard point for such a long time because you always had Fame and Pentagram not afraid to get their hands dirty, furthermore to push further up because they knew that Pander inside the hill was overwatching the play. If not, GodRx on one of these island lanes we're also overwatching it as well because they went 16 and 16. But you look at that damage trait comparatively to the KD ratio and damage of Fame, even 2,700 damage for GodRx with 32 in total engagements is nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, I mean, this Electrify Steel roster specifically, just kind of going back to Toronto and what we saw from them. It was a 4th place finish. Sure, it was, all fine and dandy, but what really kind of stood out to me was the fact that everybody on this roster, for the lack of playing together, at least going into Toronto, was simply the fact of they all look like they're in final form for the rest of the season, specifically Fame. Obviously, we had a chance to watch him in Toronto in person, and then, of course, last weekend at the CCL LAN, there was a lot to be remembered. But when you're hitting forms like you are for Fame, when you've been as consistent as you have been on Modern Warfare engines, is this one of the players that you have to watch for to make that surprise run at the very end of the season?
I mean, I think it's definitely a necessary trait that the rest of these 3 players definitely need for themselves to be able to make a fine run at the end of the season. Because let's not forget, excuse me, that Pander, GodRx, as well as Pentagram were on one of the most consistent teams that we had throughout the entirety of Cold War with that Built by Gamers roster. They were playing along with Kismet at the time. That it really always felt like that, even when Pentagram was splitting from Pander and GodRx somewhat at the beginning of the season. Now back with them again, have been struggling to be able to find for themselves that enabler to make all 4 of these players really click at the same time. I think that Fame does bring that to this roster. The vibes are always strong with Fame and the comms from what I've been able to hear over the past 2 weekends, as well as it just kind of clicks with a lot of these teammates for ESG. Going forward off of that, even talking to Pander at the event at Toronto, he said that Fame truly does have a lot to prove, and with this roster along with Pentagram and GodRx, it's definitely the right, I guess, vessel to help Fame not only prove himself to everybody else at home, but to the rest of the amateurs out there for Call of Duty that he's the real deal.
Extremely good. These last couple of weeks, these last couple of years, Fame has continuously made a name for himself, but the rest of this Electrify Steel roster has also put themselves in a great position, not only for this year, but throughout the last couple of years, expressly with what Papa was saying before with Kismet last season. We had a couple of storylines at the beginning of this year that was talking about it, and obviously we've seen where that landed Kismet and the rest of that team from Texas Nation. Either way, though, Bocage, search and destroy. Pander will go ahead and find things off for the first blood. Minute and 12 seconds left on the clock. Bomb still working its way up the map over towards that A site, at least for the time being. Electrify Steel looking good here on a defensive hold.
Not a whole lot of turnover from yesterday, but they did lose this 2-6 to Ultra Academy NA. Now the bomb's starting to make a move here for the offensive team. Royalty is carrying that and actually find some nice timing to be able to take down GodRx 3v3 under a minute.
Amicon will snap onto 1. Pentagram will fall 3 versus 2, which quickly turned from a man advantage on Electrify Steel's defensive hold. Pristini will go ahead and get some information out onto Fame. You know that the A site should be at least cleared out for yourselves at the moment. Pander forced to back off of the tank. They're going to wrap up, play this together at a 2 versus 3 rate teak over on the A site.
Really would love to be able to get control over towards that mid street to be able to coordinate this pinch, but we're going to start stacking up together. Fame just behind where Pander located at. And getting this upstairs inside the attic is massive. Now are you going to be able to read the second onto this corner? Not enough time. Of Fame, 25 seconds remaining versus the last 2 players alive, 7-5 esports. And yeah, that is, again, what they have done so well, even in recency when they did play D1 Gaming yesterday. On this map mode combination of Bocage, Search, and Destroy, they won it 6-1, Alex. And what they did continuously is slowly work their way back in, make sure that they can find that extra pick, give themselves numbers advantage, and get that bomb down. And by that point, they don't throw extra shoulders. They don't give you any information whatsoever. They just play the right corners necessary to be able to find you on rotation.
Especially nice to do once you lose that first man on an offensive try. Now to defense, you can play this a bit more passive, feel out what Electrify Steel wants to do here on offense, and cater to that aggression that we really didn't see all that much there in map number 1. Pentagram looking to the double doors down low, trying to throw a stun to get a check on players who might be pushing up. As Royalty gets a few shots at him through the doorway, he's forced to back off. Pentagram and the rest of the boys at Electrify Steel now can continuously work this bomb over towards that A site.
Yeah, they are all stacked inside that barn, so someone's going to have to make a play. Looks like it's going to be Pentagram moving forward, but you also have Fame taking a look at this very long river bend out there. You can end up finding Pristini. That would be a huge pick, but losing GodRx in the middle of the map, that's going to stall up this offense considerably.
I'm still over at this A site. Pentagram down low. Classic playing around on the outside there. As Pristini finds yet another kill, it's a 2 versus 4 once again for Electrify Steel. Don't want to give anything away just yet. Gonna spot the name there, though. Diamondcon will get the information. Now everybody can start to collapse there onto Pentagram as he's just trying to scurry throughout the middle of the map. Okay, he's able to find one. Traded out immediately after the fact, though, and now in a 1 versus 3, Panda will try his hand. He's going to be able to win the first. It's still going to be a tough task, and you got to get the bomb if you want to extend the time at any point in this round.
4.5 seconds is what you need to allocate, so Pander does need to move, doesn't even pop that silence, but you have to somehow clear this back god area of those hedges. Actually find some timing, but are you going to be able to get to this bomb in time? More or less, you're going to be able to read that there is one player up on top of the barn. 705, again, just... they fish out that first pick, and they just back up and give you absolutely nothing. Even Pristini, when he was pushed up very far forward on that BS&D site, because there wasn't more action that was coming inside of Grandma's, because there wasn't more action coming across that A-plat after GodRx died for first blood in the middle of the map. Pristini gave that all the way up and just went all the way into the backside of L and just wait for either the push-through to come over towards the BS&D off of rotation from losing one in the middle of the map, or it just being overwhelmed from that long line of sight gets the better of Fame, keeps numbers in their favor.
Get a defensive hold here from Electrify Steel. Last time they were able to find the first blood, but it quickly turned in the opposite favor. Pristini, who's on 4-0 to start things off here, has had himself a nice and monumental game for 705 Esports, looking to get themselves tied up 1-1 in the series. Beautiful first blood yet again. Will dip back with his life, but unfortunately, a well-placed nade from Fame will cut him down, make it a 3 versus 3. So with 30 seconds off the clock, the bomb now rotating over towards that beast site. Will player number 6 in Fame get the good timing? Unfortunately, that answer is no.
We'll go down here at B. Fame, just... I mean, when you got, like, maybe 1 out of 5 guesses, what corner you're going to be looked at. Classic with the beam there to be able to take him down. Now it's all just up to the last player alive. And again, 705 on this map mode combination. It received a lot of flack for that win versus D1 Gaming, just saying, you beat D1, but can you do this to even some of the best S&D players that we have to offer here in North America? And it's living up to be the absolute truth right now. I mean, their executes, their trust, and everything that means off of the information they're able to gain, and also deny versus Electrify Steel, keep garnering them so much. Map positioning, just and also with those bombs being down, they're playing the objective to a fine tune.
S&D has not been the greatest mode for Electrify Steel thus far inside of the season of the Elite. Sure, it's only a small map pool that we can actually pick from, but overall, the only S&D that they've been able to walk away with has been a round 11 win, so it's been close or really nothing at all. 20 seconds off the clock now, 4 versus 4, still passive play, but you already see Pristini so far pushed up the map, not on the streak anymore, but still looking to make some effort here. Classic is going to be able to at least find that first blood, and now you can wrap up your Diamondcon to help out Pristini as he tries to dip away. That right there is beautiful search and destroy gameplay.
How do you even try to bounce back? GodRx find some nice timing onto at least Pristini trying to push forward inside that gate positioning, but both players are split. Pentagram's expecting somebody to push through the river bend, and well, had he waited just a little bit more time, he probably would have been right, but now they're stacked up together trying to assault this AS&D.
The good news is, I mean, at least you have the A zone cleared out for yourself, but if 705 wants to at any moment, they can go ahead, hit the wrap back, and then maybe cause a pinch play. GodRx is going to get some beautiful shots on the Classic. This is going to allow the 705 Esports players to say, okay, we can kick it into gear, and now we can start making this pinch play happen. They're so worried about where Classic is inside of this building that they're not worried about getting the bomb down yet. And with only 15 seconds left, now it's a 1 versus 3 here from Pentagram. 705 played that so far across the map, but so close together in that same breath because they were able to get the trade no matter where they would have been. Fortunately enough for them, they weren't even in a position to where they needed to do that.
Pentagram's going to try to extend this. Time is going to be pretty clinical. Classic throws his shoulder, and Pentagram gets the bomb down. If he gets that kill, just full on just turns on Classic, even when Classic gets the damage, and somehow just extends that round. I would... Oh, man, I would have flipped an absolute gasket. No, he really did. I mean, the centering was all there. I was just about ready to chalk that round entirely, and then I saw Pentagram just move like that. Yeah, it's 705 again, just... able to fish out these different timings, whether it's early in the round, in the middle of the round. They really are, I mean, when you look at it, as far as what they've been able to do through a multitude of years, are pretty darn smart with how they're able to put together their search and destroy, Alex. I mean, it's just one of those things, again, where you expect this from all these players, especially from recency, back, especially through Cold War and Modern Warfare, with Diamondcon and Royalty piecing together some strong search and destroy runs.
Yep. Once again, 705, first blood to kick things off here in round number 5. It has not been close whatsoever thus far, except for maybe the first round. Pentagram will trade out Royalty in the middle of the map, make it a 3 versus 3. Bomb is actually down inside of Grandma's, though, so it's in a good spot here if you are defense. And for the first time, it is going to be Electrify Steel with a man advantage in their favor. 1 versus 3. Now for Pristini on the side of 705. You have to pull this off. You've got 55 seconds. The Bomb, though, not in the greatest position.
No, it's not. Finding that first pick and dropping the bomb inside the front door of Grandma's doesn't make things any easier. Electrify Steel should absolutely be able to put themselves on the board. I think Pentagram just saw Pristini throwing a shoulder. You see Pander also going for some jumps.
Oh.
Damage is there, but Pristini is still pushing it. Also sees Pander's head up top, and he has the information on Fame. Wait, he can isolate these 2 1v1s, but the timing coming up the stairs just not good enough for Pristini. Fame will be able to gun him down from that high ground positioning. And yeah, I mean, quick moves coming through from 705. Why wouldn't you feel yourself at this point in time? They have not had any answer to have ESG so far throughout the entirety of this map number 2 on Bocage, but... Yeah. Even more so than that, it's just with that bomb being dropped in such a precarious spot, you just post up, you wait for the angles, the ARs put in all of the work. Just completely stall out any sort of offensive opportunities. 7-5 we're hoping with that 1 kill that came through.
Well, if you're Electrify Steel, you get yourselves your first round on the board. A little bit of confidence has to be filling your sails just a bit, but confidence can only do so much. You got to be able to win opening engagements, and when Pristini is able to beam you like that out of top barn, it's going to be that much more difficult. 4 versus 3, 7-3 here for Pristini. Got a Rex all the way in the back. I thought maybe you win another miracle gunfight there, but as you even the life count out now on the offensive try, Fame just going to be looking for a little bit more information. Loyalty in the middle of the map, bait and switch around the corner. Good trades there. Leaves a 1 versus 2. This time it's for Diamond Con on the side of 705.
And they should be more than aware about where DC is located at, especially from previous offensive attempts. So they're just going to fly. They're not even going to worry about checking the backside of hedges. Bomb's going to go down. And post plan is pretty well set up for it.
Rex won't move away, though. Fame just waiting inside of the door. Gonna get closed. Diamond Con. Oh, this is gonna be such a difficult gunfight to win. Or is it? First one gonna challenge around the corner. Okay, Fame wins it. They stacked up for him there. They didn't realize that he was gonna be able to see directly through the door, and that almost paid dividends for the side of 705. Luckily enough, it's no miracles here for Diamond Con inside of the round, and it's another round in a row here for the side of Electrify Steel.
Yeah, that got really scary for a multitude of reasons, because obviously you stack up together, you just line things up for a returning AR to be able to find that last kill. Then that round of a hope just completely crumbles for Electrify Steel. But yeah, I was wondering where Godorex was even going to go to in the first place. No way he's going to get to barn and worry about checking that and give 2 isolated 1v1s, but stacking up together definitely worrisome. Still 2 rounds in the lead for 705 with this very 4-player stacked aggressive hit towards that.
Cini once again trying to be that aggressive player, trying to find that first pick. He's going to see Pentagram there on the staircase. Trying to stun it out. Maybe a nade over the top might be able to do the trick, but as Godorex is able to find the first, Fame's going to be there as well. Pristini on the God Tank isn't going to be able to win the one-on-one as Panda comes from behind. Now it's Diamond Con who gets cut down all the way in the top. It was a very aggressive, fast plant from the side of 705, but Electrify Steel, they catch fire and now have won 3 straight rounds in a row.
It's just that timing to peek at the absolute right time on the God Tank all the way into the backside of hedges, right? I mean, Fame just almost gets to see everything, then Godorex just repeats their same positioning, does catch one player off guard. When you try to work these very quick plants over towards the AS&D, you really need to be a team on the uppity to be able to make that rotation as quickly as what we saw from those middle and B lane defenders for Electrify Steel, to be able to recognize that as quick as they did. It's going to assist them quite wonderfully, as you also have Fame reaching that 4 kill in a row, multiple rounds. You're slowly suppressing any sort of first blood antics that Pristini has been finding continuously through the first 4 that they won.
Stun check from Fame, won't be able to find anything just yet. Doesn't know that Royalty's sitting right behind that door there, but if he would have been able to shoot, probably would have found at least a pick or some information on the side of 705 players. So defensive all the way back in the back of their map. Bomb going to go down over towards B, and a beautiful nade there from Godorex is going to be able to find one. Fame picks up the second. All of a sudden, once again, it's a 4 versus 2 on the verge of being able to tie this game at 4 rounds.
Wow.
And a 1 versus 4 now for Royalty. He'll fall. Electrify Steel 4 rounds in a row. Didn't want to speak it into an existence just yet, but Andy, we got to start the conversation now.
It is absolutely there. You win the first 4, we win the next 4. That is the weirdest gentleman's agreement I've ever seen in my life, but hey, maybe that's just the narrative we got to start getting used to, because Electrify Steel, yeah, just so wise. They are more than aware of 705's game plan. If they want to post in the back, they want to play against the timings, just expect you to make the play. We'll bring out everything. These nades need to be able to read and adjust to where a lot of these 705 members are located at. I mean, Godorex threw that nade all the way to the backside of Stables and caught Pristini for first blood all the way to the backside of Hedges.
Fame on 5, Pander on 4. Fame gets some shots and information onto Pristini. We'll back off for the moment. He wants that one-on-one gunfight so bad. He's going to get Pristini all the way down to 47, force him to back off to the mid-map with the rest of the team. If If you are the side of Electrify Steel, you can just play passive here. You know 705 has to make their move. This is feeling very, very similar to what we saw on Berlin. It was aggression early out of the gates for 705, but once that got shut down, they just seemed stagnant, not knowing exactly what they want to do.
Fame's going to get stunned up, has to reposition, doesn't want to get pushed out. There really hasn't been that much information apart from maybe a couple blips coming up in the middle of the map. The Classic just threw a couple shots at the backside of Stables, but everything is becoming really quiet so far. 40 seconds remaining. Bomb with Royalty slowly moving their way into Grannies.
They won't see anything through the middle of the map. Royalty, though, will catch a few bullets to the face, wisely back off to the barn. 30 seconds left here in the round to make something work. Diamondcon all the way out to the right. Okay, Casey Pander will get cut down 4 versus 3 now for 705, but still it's only 25 seconds to work here. So you have the bomb worked over towards A. 2 players inside of Grandma's. The trade in the equalizer there now for God RX. Almost beautiful shots there, but as Diamondcon is weak and now at 36 HP, it's a 3 versus 2 over on the point. 1 versus 3 now. Can Fame be the clutch man? All he has to do is get them off the bomb. 10 seconds left. Shots to the first one. Classic going to turn back around. Bomb going to go down 45 now. It's a much more difficult situation than a 1v3.
Oh, you know where he is. Just going to hold the angles. Just expect Fame to peek out. 705 will finally stop the bleeding. That was the momentum train of a lifetime coming through from Electrify Steel, winning 4 in a row. Put themselves up on map point. Again, it's just one of those things where I really did feel like that Electrify Steel did have the trap set up. I mean, it was really playing into the hands after 705 started pushing wildly into Grandma's. They showed about 2 faces, Royalty as well as one more behind him, I believe was Classic at the time, and then you had God RX in towards the back, but Electrify Steel just offered them all these 1v1s, and 705 were much more bunched up, were able to win those gunfights more convincingly, get themselves numbers and map point here on 2.
Well, you won 4 straight. You're going to have to win at least 1 here to force a round 11. The only S&D win that you have right now, if you are Electrify Steel here in Stage 4 of the Elites, is a round 11 win. Why not make it 2? Minute 9 on the clock. Bomb works its way up towards A. Pentagram. Aggressive with the SMG. Diamondcon up top should get some information there, but actually doesn't see the windows open, so he can just play this passively. But he's got to be careful of Diamondcon all the way up and towards the top. And as he finds the first blood here, Electrify Steel now in a precarious position.
Hey, you're almost hoping that Pentagram's going to be able to make a move, but the risk is not as good as the unfortunate deficit that matters if Pentagram loses that gunfight, because it means you got to move, and that's going to be Fame into the back, at least finding 1. But you got 40 seconds, and you're down 1 life.
Down a life. But Fame is in a really, really good spot here to pinch with his teammate. Now as God RX finds a second kill there, this opens up the round a lot more. 30 seconds is a ton of time to work with. That bomb is directly down at that A site. Fame starting to make his way up. Needs to get inside there. Checks inside of the door. Picks up the bomb. Wrap back out over towards A. Diamondcon might get some unfortunate timing here if God RX is able to preempt that window.
Oh, DC shoots through it, so God RX knows, but Fame gets chased by Classic outside over by the A plat, but as God RX held their position well enough, he's got to find that 1 kill, forces out the 1v1. He's in the clutch positioning.
Diamondcon out onto the bomb. Looking over towards the bomb. He's just going to hop it. God RX around the corner. He's got to get there. He's got to go. You've got to run. You've got to run. You've got to sprint. You've got to go. You've got to find the kill. He won't be able to get around the bomb in time. And with 25 seconds left on the bomb, the 705 Esports roster will take it in around number 10 as the Ninja Defuse comes through from Diamondcon. Wasn't able to check it in the 1v1.
And the last known positioning again for DC was on top Grandma that threw some shots out from top attic from that window that watches the cross going over towards top A plat. That God RX just assumed maybe he could be on the backside of Waterloo. Maybe he could be inside of Tools. He could also be trying to work for some timing behind me. He drops down from top barn after he found that kill in the Classic, that trade, if you will, after Fame went down from planting the bomb. And then immediately you just assume that God RX is just going to go over and check the bomb. That somebody, at least in team comms, if not God RX, will think to themselves that, hey, I need to move over towards this bomb. He could very much so be on it. But in a round 10 like that, I mean, for Diamondcon, that obviously for 705 Esports, they had the 1 round to play with, might just hop on top of it. It just completely I can't wrap my mind around why God RX wouldn't just go fly over towards the bomb.
Either fly over towards the bomb or maybe make a wrap all the way back around the barn. You know where the bomb is going to be planted for. And unfortunately, you just check it from the side where it's the least advantageous spot for you to be able to check that bomb in a clutch scenario. You don't know if he's on the bomb or not. I get it. You want to play a little bit more passive. You want to come preempt that corner, just get the timing there. But you got to go. In those situations, a lot of times, players are just going to hop the bomb. When you're up at this level, you know the timings. You know when they're going to come around the corner. And right there, Diamondcon plays it perfectly, and that gives them the 6-4 advantage. So, I mean, at least at the end of the day, now you have yourselves a 1-1 series. You're at least guaranteeing yourselves a map number 4, but changes need to come and respawn for 705. It's an S&D win, sure, but I want to see that same roster outlook there that we saw in map 2, in map number 3 here for the Control. I do not want to see what we saw in Berlin in the Hardpoint.
Yeah, I mean, you're really just hoping for them to be able to click things together and being able to get these entry engagements. I mean, you look to what Persini was able to put together through those first 4 rounds of being one. I mean, there was every single round almost. Well, at least 3 of them we can see on the stats right here. That we said, well, Persini's got himself yet another first blood. The first blood engagements were all in favor of 705 throughout the 10 rounds that were played, continuously being able to work their way in for those first bloods. But obviously, you need to be able to piece the 2 game modes together. That first blood in Search and Destroy, obviously, you could post back up, and you could just wait for the engagement to come to you. But we need to be able to see them get more proactivity coming through from those first few kills that come all the way out. And the same could be said for this Tuscan Control that we're about to be setting ourselves up for, Alex, that each kill does need to mean something for 705. They cannot allow Electrify Steel Black to absolutely just run them over and outpace them.
Yeah, it was a close comeback there towards the end. I thought Electrify Steel might have what it took to climb over that hill and then be able to not necessarily full sail them, but damn well close to it. Map number 3, as Andy highlighted beforehand, will be on Tuscan. We'll see that for Control. Tuscan for the hard point for map number 4 is also guaranteed. And if we need to go the distance all the way to map 5, and with the way that this series has played thus far, it's been interesting, but I could see it going there. We'll be on Desert Siege for that final search and destroy to close out this best of 5. Andy, overall right now, though, you look to the side of Electrify Steel. They've played Ultra NA, they've played Iron Blood, they lost both of those series. They're sitting in a 0-2 deficit. This is what you have to feel like is one of those series where it doesn't feel like it's necessarily like a must-win, but it's a should-win series for you that is going to put you within distance to once again resurge what you have for yourselves here inside of Elite Stage 4.
I generally believe that every single match going forward for Electrify Steel are must-wins, because you did start off 0-2 throughout the beginning of round robin play, right? Obviously, you can take it for what it's worth. You did face at least 2, if not 2 of the 3, I should say, of what we consider to be the top teams in North America right now. Again, we have such a small sample pool, but regardless, you have them, you have Destroy the Odds, who are obviously showcasing for them to be a formidable 2, 3, and 5 team. You also have D1, that should be a win for you, and you still have to get through whatever it takes to look nasty, not to mention that you still have to face 3 Kings, who by any stretch of the imagination, are going to be playing with a certain level of determination after they also ended up starting off 0-2 as well. I think that everything for Electrify Steel has to be a win going forward, because you do not want to leave your hopes up to destiny. We've seen a lot of teams miss out after that last matchup comes through, one head-to-head, one extra map. Yep. You don't want to just try to go into the match and be like, oh, we lost, but we should be good. No, you were 0-2 right now. I think you start sweating immediately.
Yeah, I mean, we were, talking about the broadcast beforehand. Like, yeah, some stages of the Elites, we've seen 3 wins be enough to get in. Some 4 wasn't even enough to make it into the playoff portion. So it's like, maybe choice of words, maybe must win is necessarily going to be there, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's still both of these teams not sitting in the most advantageous positions by any means necessary. But I mean, at least if you are Electrify Steel, you have Ultra NA and Iron Blood out of the way, 2 teams who have been very, very good right now. And if you actually want to see both of those teams going head to head over at youtube.com/COD Challengers, they're going to map 3 right now, series tied up 1-1 between Ultra NA and the side of Iron Blood. So that's going to be fun. That's the live coverage over there on youtube.com/COD Challengers. We'll continue our coverage here, at least for the time being, between Electrify Steel and 705 Esports. But I mean, Andy, before we potentially send this to a short break, going forward here instead of the series, what's been the deciding factor for Electrify Steel in the maps that they won and lost?
Well, I mean, you could just go back through the Berlin Hardpoint specifically. I mean, 250 to 108. We were all sitting there talking, just kind of hysterically, just going back and looking at some of like the biggest defeats that we've ever had. That one's up there. I mean, maybe you lost out by the benchmark that we saw earlier today in Europe by about like 50 points or so. But that's still a really confident win coming all the way through, and it's just the pacing that was being set up continuously. There's always that blind trust, right? You had Pander and GodRx just anchoring out these longer line of sights, while also you had the productivity coming through from Fame and Pentagram, continuously being able to work these nooks and crannies through a lot of these different maps. I think that will be quite prevalent. Because, I mean, Electrify Steel, there's definitely one game mode that they're going to have more suggestive going their way. It's probably going to be the Hardpoints and Controls. Definitely a lot stronger of a respawn team comparatively to Search and Destroy from what we've seen recently over the past month.
Things to watch for going forward. We're going to send things to a quick break. When we come back, map number 3 between Electrify Steel and 705 Esports. You're watching Clutch GG's coverage of Elite Stage 4. Welcome back to Stage 4 North America Challengers Elite. Name's McCormill, with me, proper. Whatever it takes, D1 Gaming going at it at the moment. Whatever it takes is able to win map number 1, I believe. And then map number 2, same story. So D1 Gaming trying to fight for their lives here in map number 3. It's 28-25 in terms of the lives. 2 ticks of progress already made over towards that A site.
Yeah, whatever it takes. Actually 2-0 up in this best of 5 series over the LATAM representation here of D1 Gaming. Looking to try to get it done here, at least in the control. Start the hopes over the reverse sweep. And the hardpoint was close. Keep in mind, you only have 15-point differential on that Berlin. So, but everything on this opening offense for whatever it takes is anything but close. They are winning gunfights. They're playing corners. D1 Gaming are sprinting into them, and whatever it takes. Not only do they have those 2 segments done, and Clayster stalling out the clock, well, they just captured B.
This is just so clean right now for the side of whatever it takes. Already done with B over towards A. Not even any sort of congestion here or hindrance of capping this site. That was a clean capture of A and B, and it only took them about 45 seconds there in round number 1. So a very quick start here to the control, a 1-0 lead. A D1 once again fighting for their lives here. That's not exactly how you wanted to start on a defensive hold.
I mean, we hopped in here late, but I mean, even beyond that, it's continued on with how it started when we hopped in. It was just winning every single gunfight. I mean, fellow, only a 1-3 really does speak volumes, just how aggressive Clay was across the entirety of the map. He's 7-1 for heaven's sakes. I mean, you have a collective 6 kills for D1 Gaming, and Clayster has 7. All right. Just answer it, Forehead. You got this.
Clayster, beforehand, was begging Skies to get him a trial with the Mutineers. And rightfully so, at 8-1 here in the control against this D1 Gaming roster. Up by 1 life now. First tick of progress going to go through over at A, so you waste 15 seconds, but you are able to get some information and pushed up the map. Fellow all the way towards the back, you're going to be able to read what D1 Gaming is trying to throw at you now, and with nobody over towards that A site, this is easy pickings for whatever it takes. Because Clayster, he's moving up into the spawn side on 6 in a row.
He's got an AR, and he's on 6 in a row. He's chasing down off-screen. Thresh had no idea where Clay was even coming from. There was no showcasing over by A, because all D1 are coming in just relentlessly assaulting this B zone. And to be quite honest, they're doing quite a bang-up job of just cycling players out, but they got to be able to win these gunfights. Thresh comes back in, is able to find at least 1 more, and they're slowly working up towards a segment of progress. They are splitting whatever it takes is numbers. Little too thin. Now, Clayster does have that glide bomb, not choosing to invest it because they're not necessarily feeling the utmost pressure.
Almost 2 ticks of full progress here over towards B, so as quickly as D1 Gaming lost those 2 ticks on each site, they're going to go over here towards A and B and try to do the exact same thing whatever it takes did to them. Up top, though, Rupert will find 1. 2 Real will trade that immediately after the fact, so a 2-1 down is going to be whatever it takes, now making their way into the spawn side of D1 once again. A site completed, extra minute on the clock, tied in lives at 18 apiece. Tons of time to work over towards B, but as I said beforehand, Andy, the positioning from whatever it takes not going to allow you to do that too easy.
Yeah, they found that first kill inside a church. Now that should be communicated as 2Real just completes this flank through the middle of the map that, yeah, they're all trapped inside here. Here should come the cleanup. Clayster from the backside with the automaton. If fire ain't too bad, gonna be able to find at least 1 more player and fellow for the last. So now you can start taking further map positioning if you are whatever it takes. You can see Barack is already pushed up over by these rooftops. Will be starting to be shot in the back. That's a big kill. That would at least suggest for whatever it takes that D1 Gaming are going to try this P push.
2Real sees Rupert, able to find the first few shots, tries to pull out the 40 on him. Fellow, though, with the trade there onto Trakes, is going to be able to have whatever it takes being in a great position. Play number 4, though, you got to look for the flank. Clayster, very reminiscent of what we saw from Slow-Mo inside of St. Clair. The CCL land isn't able to cause much ruckus there. Will get cut down, so as quickly as whatever it takes had themselves a 3-life lead. D1 Gaming now will even that out and get back over towards this B site. Almost able to pop a 2-piece as they lined up. Unfortunately, though, everybody in red cut down for D1 Gaming. Back to the respawn block with 45 to go.
3-life lead in favor of the defensive team. Looking to extend it more if 2Real just continue to go AWOL there. Be able to do it, though. These just isolated gunfights that whatever it takes to keep finding for D1, just trying to press on forward. It's just speaking volumes to how about like the 10, 15 lives truly have gone. But whatever it takes, we'll push at least to the limit. Last few gunfights should be coming through, but in a 1v8 situation, I'm not too sure if you're not going to be able to deal with Brack. But Trey's going to try his damnedest just to be able to play that chimney, but I gotta say, whatever it takes, just absolutely just demolish D1 Gaming as far as the return gunfights were concerned. D1 did all right. I mean, at least giving themselves those 3 ticks, but you're still 2 down, and you gotta somehow get yourself an offense throughout the entirety of that control.
Clayster has been on a different level here inside of the control, but we'll switch back to our focus match here for this best of 5 series between 705 Esports and Electrify Steel as we get into the control round. 11 versus 4. Offense not panning out 0-2 well here for 705 early on. Electrify Steel has done a great job on the defensive hold to be able to go ahead and win the majority of their gunfights and, of course, find themselves the first round here. It'd have to be theatrics and a 1 versus 10 from Pentagram if they wanted to see the light of day here on offense, and they won't be able to do so. So Electrify Steel 1-0 up here early on. Remember, this is a series that is tied at 1 apiece.
Yeah, big swing map mode combination here for one team to be able to get back on track, you know, to be able to take a look at that upcoming map of a Tuscan Hardpoint. You win this control, you can very much so end this in 4 without having to force out the Desert Sea Search and Destroy, and we'll talk more about that later. But as far as Tuscan is concerned for a control map, can't necessarily say it feels at home for 705. The only time they played it last season, they went 0-3. As far as this season is concerned, they lost it 1-3 yesterday to Destroy the Odds. So, a lot to see. They can piece something together, but defensive affair so far that this map has at least suggested is how that first round ended up going. But Electrify Steel now for this offensive attempt to put themselves on A quite early, get that first segment without really much of a hassle.
Classic laid down, tried to play the timing there on Gato Rex. Didn't jump around the corner 0-2 aggressively, so it is going to allow Electrify Steel at least to have that life advantage now with the ticks of progress over at A. They have to chalk that immediately, so 2 minutes and 20 seconds. One of the larger bits of time portions we've seen having to go over towards that B site to cap it. But as you're winning these gunfights, moving up the map, Gato Rex, you just need to be worried about getting the streak right now at 5 in a row. 2 more kills, you'll tack that on, and it'll make your lives so much easier, whether it be this round or one of the rounds going forward.
I mean, you just feel like those gunfights need to just be won now. I mean, there's nothing else to be said. See Royalty at 2-10 definitely need a little bit more addition towards this chemistry that has to be denying Electrify Steel from this offensive push. You know the Godorex is in here, or at least Royalty and Diamondcon just going to try to duo it up together, clear out some of these players. Battles are already won over by the North Church side, so 705 going to be setting Electrify Steel packing. Keep moving with just under 2 minutes left.
Just smart play by Royalty to get down, slide in the prone position, clear out Godorex. Little did they know that he was on 5 in a row, so you clear out the streaks. You have a little bit more room to breathe with now. Pentagram has slipped the knot all the way through the middle of the map and is trying to get up in behind Royalty and Top Church. We'll be able to find the first gunfight win there. You have 2 players inside of P5. This is a pinch play now being made from Electrify Steel, but you are going to force the rotation here out of 705 back over towards B because there is a player on it in Pander who is now just waiting to play with the rest of the teammates instead of the spawn side. Pentagram once again finds his way to slip around, and Pander wins the gunfight. Okay, so it's a 3-1 trade. You get a teammate in the process, but now it's everybody down, and look who's all the way in the back. Pentagram. There was a player that did lag out, though, for 705, so we'll have to get confirmation on what's going to happen after this round's over.
Yeah, that'll definitely be interesting. Really? Okay, so yeah, going to go ahead and just close the lobby, but I mean, all right, but I mean, you still have to be able to show that ESB was in fact still up that round. So, again, we just work here. We're just a bunch of voices and faces to you all at home. So we'll see how that one ends up panning out from the admins. Whatever it takes. So back in towards their matchup, still 2-0 up over D1 Gaming. Need to solidify this defense and somehow piece together an offense. And D1 Gaming, to be fair, have themselves that hefty life advantage. This is certainly starting to look like they're at least extending this to another round.
Aaron laying down, gets good timing, but Brack around the corner will be able to win the one-on-one. Thresh all the way in the backside spawn. He's got help for whatever it takes, but as Trax is able to find one, Brack is forced to back up all the way up the staircase once again. 2 real cuts down the flank. 3 players left now for D1 Gaming over towards the front of the hill. Fellow has to go big and win the one-on-one here. Thresh will be able to take it, though, and as Aaron and him are playing together, it is all going to come down to Fellow, who almost is able to turn back around, but with 2 seconds left, Clayster's the last one on the point at 22-16. He has been the shining star for the side of whatever it takes, but Andy, at least prolonging this series just a bit longer, D1 will be able to take a defense.
Something that stuck out just very characteristically, I should say, just about one player in particular, and that was Brack. I mean, before that last death, he was 19-9. You say what you will, yeah, Clay's up to 22-16, and I'll get to there, but I mean, Brack just yesterday in the matches that we're playing on Control is sitting at a 1.46 overall KD for this map mode combination with a 75% non-traded kill percentage. That's casual. But even still, D1 Gaming need to be able to find this answer here. They were able to at least stave off the last offensive attempt for whatever it takes. But to win an offense on Tuscan ain't that easy, not with the numbers that whatever it takes have been putting up.
Just little things like that. Nade over the top, you're able to go ahead and pepper up the last couple of shots through the wall. Lobbing a nice kill on through. Fellow had a great little flank going for himself. Fortunately, though, it was Thresh who was just going to sit in the corner and wait for the flank to come back around. 2Real up and towards top apartments in the fire building. We'll wrap all the way back over towards P5, but it's Aaron who's pushed up into the spawn side of whatever it takes, trying to cause some havoc and allow the rest of the team to now make their way up the map. Good news, though, for whatever it takes, although you are getting pushed into your half of the map, you still have 2 players pushed up in towards P5, so they can wrap back over towards the hill, maybe find themselves in the bottom of church for a flank whenever they so choose.
Yeah, the next Guardian would truly be Clay, right? I mean, everybody's going to have to try to get this top radio position. You don't necessarily capture B zone without this top radio position, and well, Thresh is more than aware of it. He's able to take down Clayster. So they need to be able to push all the way through. So now a lot more pressure just on the back of Brack, just making sure that Church alleyway stays in their favor, as well as Clayster, who off the respawn just runs straight into Church. And should be able to spring a trap for a couple trades to come all the way through. Although D1 Gaming are finding themselves some kills, when these trades come through here, Alex, it just stalls them out considerably, and it allows whatever it takes to play cleanup duty from wherever they're located at.
Slow and methodic here. Taking some time off the clock, not really dwindling out any lives, but they're trying to put themselves in a nice position in order to set up for what would be an offensive surge here forward. All the way through the back, though. It's going to be 3 players there. Fellow dips and dives around the corner. Wasn't able to find one, but Clayster's there with the aerial support for 2. Rupert now with Thresh, the last 2 alive, coming in through the backside spawn. Whatever it takes, have read this perfectly and now can realize, hey, we can start pushing up the map and start to spawn trap them. With 55 seconds left, that's exactly what Fellow has started to do. Tyler has made himself a nuisance in the middle of the map, almost takes down Threx's head, but as Trax is now going to be able to find himself in towards the middle of the map, it's still whatever it takes with tons of map presence and a great amount of time in their favor.
Yeah, and they're going to finally start pushing up P5, but again, 2Real is already in here. Trey will actually be able to read it and just completely obliterates 2Real. Now the trades need to come through. Clay with the sub. He comes in. Ruper's the last one alive on this push. We'll have some help behind Thresh, and to be fair, they're actually able to find 3. So now the push through P5 needs to start manifesting itself, but 2Real comes right off the respawn behind back column, does not get traded. D1 Gaming, last leg, 17 seconds remaining.
Bit aggressive there. First player that was out wasn't able to find a kill. Gets cut down. 11 seconds left. Fellow shots onto Drakes. Cut down. Won't be able to be a factor inside of this round unless they get onto the point here. 3 players left alive. Hopping on down. It's still Fellow who's down on the point. Clayster over the top of the aerial support. 2 real pairs along with it. And just like that, although they were able to take a defensive round, whatever it takes will find their 3rd round in the control to complete the 3-0 sweep over D1 Gaming and keep themselves at a beautiful record here inside of stage 4. They are currently 3-0, sitting extremely well for a playoff push.
Yeah, absolutely the case. Look, you know, there's been a lot of questions thrown around whatever it takes, not only through this season, but you could also say is the consistency there, with the conversation obviously coming around for, I guess, the core 2, as it may end being for both Brack and 2Real last season, right? Because, you know, they were playing with Prolud at the time. They already knew that they were going to end up having Neptune, but then Major Maniac steps in. That's going to be their 4th. Not a whole lot of practice to at least start off the beginning of the season 3 of Challengers Elite. And then the same thing almost happens this season. They completely just have to go through an entire reset. It gets blown up internally, even walking away as your Toronto champions. And then they have to find yet another 2, do Brack and 2Real. So then they bring in Clayster and Fellow, which, to be fair, would suggest that they do have a 3 ARs, I guess, historically through more recency of Call of Duty. But it doesn't mean that they don't have the ability nor capability to be able to get it done. And 2Real has stepped up phenomenally to be that Slayer for that team. It really does make you almost underlook just in recency alone with some of the superstars that have come through the doorways of whatever it takes, such as Major Maniac and Neptune, about how much value both Clayster and Brack have been able to find to the table.
Yeah, and I think it speaks volumes to specifically to how 2Real and Brack are going to be able to kind of just find their roles on teams, or vice versa with Clayster and Fellow being able to find their roles on teams as well. And when you have a pairing to where you can just find 2 duos, replace them, and have the same amount of success, it not only speaks volumes, but the fact of the matter was that, you know, my at least kind of concern coming into this series today, but just the overall Elite, was how their S&D was going to look. Obviously, going into today, they hadn't won an S&D yet, but with a win over D1, sure, you can say whatever you will about the difficulty of the opponent that they won an S&D against, but at the end of the day, Andy, what really matters is that they were able to get over that hump and find their first S&D inside of the Elite, and now that's going to give them tons of confidence moving forward against any team that comes in their path.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, Search and Destroy, like we always end up saying from weekend to weekend, the best Search and Destroy team is probably going to win the entire event because it's obviously apparent. You know, being able to get away with it with hard points, making sure that you at least have 2 good maps under your belt, and being able to have a good veto across the way for control, you can get by one of those 3 game modes. But search and destroy, typically when it does reach that championship caliber, all the way down to be able to get yourself that chip, it's probably going to be coming down to the 2s and 5s. Most importantly, going back to even season 3 when they lost to Toronto Ultra Academy North America, it was really the search and destroys that did pay dividends for them to either win or lose.
If you're just joining us, we appreciate you spending your time here with us at Clutch GG, bringing you the coverage of North American Challengers Elite Stage 4. We did get the verdict on Electrify Steel in 705. We will be replaying starting in round number 2. So Electrify Steel did have themselves a defensive round win to start things off there. So 705 will now be on the defensive side with Electrify Steel starting to push on their way forward. Andy, the other thing as well, right now going into map number 4 on the actual mainstream at youtube.com/COD Challengers, Ultra Academy NA up 2-1 on Ironblood Gaming. Both of those teams undefeated here thus far in stage 4 of the elites in North America. And Ultra Academy, they've started themselves hot out on Berlin right at the moment. So youtube.com/COD Challengers, you can go find that as the mainstream is still kicking off underway. But just focusing on our match here, it was a quick round to start things off here for Electrify Steel, but overall pretty much a typical Tuscan Control.
Yeah. I mean, you're able to at least hold off defense for defense, as it may end up being. As far as Tuscan Control is concerned, if 2 teams are evenly matched, typically cracking the code, trying to get yourself inside that B zone is not too easy. Not when those respawns start coming through, and the control needs to be consistently always in place. It really does really showcase just how the meta has evolved, because now Tuscan Control is being let through now. It's not always just the Gavutus or the Berlin since they've come back around. Teams have really started to find themselves those certain opportunities to be able to get that B zone in their favor by giving up the A zone when it feels opportune to be able to get further kills, to be able to get that B zone, any sort of segment progression whatsoever to speak of is quite monumental. So, and speaking of that segment progression, something to keep in mind is that I do believe that there is going to be a 3-tick advantage going in the way of 705. So 705 will have that at least that 3-tick lead going in towards the upcoming round. So it'll definitely be interesting to be able to see how that ends up playing out for that round 5 defense.
Yeah, definitely something to keep note of course, bearing it does go to a round number 5 in the control. But overall, the series has been kind of one-sided in multiple ways in terms of back and forth in both the modes. Hardpoint, Electrify Steel, great. It went their way. It was like, what, 250 to like 106. It was not close. But then the Search and Destroy, Electrify Steel, sure, they had their comeback, but 705 looked like the stronger team in that regard. So early on in the control, it looked again like Electrify Steel was going to be at least having an upper hand advantage when it came to the respawn mode. But again, 705, despite a slow start performance in terms of slaying, they were looking at least poised to maybe cap that B zone on an offensive push. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens here inside of map number 3. But again, it is a 1-round advantage right now to the side of Electrify Steel.
Yep, all off the defensive side that came through, so they will be on the offensive attempt. And you absolutely do have to point out that after that A zone did come through, I mean 705, they really had no choice. They were losing so many gunfights considerably across the entirety of the map that they did not want to try to contest for that A zone quickly. A war of attrition came through, and a lot of more zoning pressure. Again, it's very hard to be able to tell where the lockout did actually occur, but they were really starting to get themselves closer and closer towards that B zone. And to be fair, that's what Electrify Steel need to be able to showcase, as they did in that Berlin hardpoint. So for this offense first, not going to try anything too cutesy. Just going to try to get themselves that A in middle of the map secure right and early.
Well, 2 quick kills going their way is going to be a hot start for them. Classic and Diamondcon looking to go back over towards A here. Shots from Classic and picking up Fame. Now can start to make this push maybe through all the way to the flank. Pentagram, though, will turn around. Diamondcon on the top will start out with a nice 2-0 progression. But at the same time, Electrify Steel will find themselves their first 2 ticks of progress on that A site. So very, very similar to what we saw beforehand. It's going to be 2 minutes and 22 seconds to capture that B zone and give themselves a 2-0 lead in the control.
They only found 2 kills within that opening squabble. So you almost have to chalk that. You don't want to lose more lives. You're down by a whole set. So E5 setup is all there. That guy with 2 kills will be gunned immediately. 705 Esports just got completely run over, and well, now we got to talk about it because Godorek's going to find Classic just trying to swing out from P5. You got players in towards the back of 705. You need some gunfights to come their way. Final Royalty at least finds 2. The clock is stalled out at 2:03.
Stalled out. Pander's going to be there, but it was a big double from Royalty that opened the door to allow them to rotate through Top Church, get back onto the site. Pentagram all the way in the back lines will get cut down by Pristini, so you're done with all the rats in the back line of your spawns. You can start making your way back in towards the beautiful, beautiful side of P5. Fame might get some good timing on Pristini. He'll be able to cut down one, looks for the second. Royalty on the staircase, now going to dip all the way through. Pistol going to be there, but he's not going to realize that Pentagram is coming from over the top. Got a Rex there to help as well. They sent 3 players to find that rat inside of P5. Now Diamond in the middle of the map will cut down Got a Rex. Still a 5-light advantage, but with a minute and 35 left.
And you need more of these players to be able to finesse their lives outside of where all these hits are coming from. Like Classic finds 2 over by P5. DC finesses their life for what feels about like 20 seconds or so across the ruin side. And now you're going to send reinforcements or Electrify Steel to try to clear DC out from this positioning, and it takes about 2, if not 3 players before Diamondcon finally goes down to Pentagram. So now 705 have control of the middle of the map. Classic also getting communication that their teammate went down over by P5, so now looking for some timing behind.
Only got our X Fame there, though. Beautiful to turn around. 12 versus 12. Minute left. Pristini now inside of P5. One-on-one gunfight there versus Fame. It was last time where Fame got the advantage on the opposition, where he was able to find them all the way out and towards the well. This time, Pristini will be weakened up by a nade. Fame will go back. Now as one person's laying down inside of P5, it's going to be 3 different players here for the side of Electrify Steel. First one up is going to be Royalty and Diamondcon, who pair up. Fame's going to be able to get batter up and swing it all the way out towards the fences. Royalty around the corner. Won't be able to find one except for Pander, but as everybody else is now finding their trades, Electrify Steel, just a one-on-one off screen, it should allow them to at least push their way up the map. 8 versus 7, 25 left.
Pentagram's in the back, by the way. Pentagram will finally showcase their presence in towards the back. We'll find one. Yeah, but the trade just comes through too cleanly, doesn't it? It just wasn't enough time for Pentagram to be able to make such a maneuver with all the help that did not come through across the patio side, through across the middle of the map, and 705 are just flourishing in it, just trying to recollect themselves, reconvene our Electrify Steel, and all the crossfires are set up. Gutter X 1v5, good lunch, have fries. You're not making your way over towards that B zone, so it'll be 3 ticks apiece for both of these 2 teams going in towards the next round. Defense for defense as you like it, but we are still even across the board, so I think Electrify Steel maybe gave themselves one good opportunity when they finally won all those transitional gunfights, got themselves on the backside of Church, sure, but they couldn't even get themselves that first segment of progression, try to get themselves zoning away into the backside of Church. But before they knew it, they still had players to worry about in top patio, and that forced all of them to turn around, and by that point, they just got collapsed on.
I mean, 705, they played a really good scatter throughout that defensive round, not really giving away their positioning, and although they weren't playing for trades most of the time, they're able to win their one-on-ones exactly where they wanted them to. So now defense here for the set of Electrify Steel. Got a Rex, get some shots on the Pristini, who will go ahead and aggressively challenge down to the bottom of the Church. Diamondcon will finally get one, but as I say that, it's a 2-2 trade back and forth that allows the set of Electrify Steel to have a 1-life advantage, but the B-zone is being captured at the same time. So you have Royalty on the point, everybody now on the respawn block here on the defensive side of things is going to be there, but as Diamondcon is able to find one, Royalty is able to find one, Diamondcon will hop over the railing to try and find another. Royalty's now on 2 in a row and still trying to stay alive here. Pristini now for help all the way towards the right side. Royalty will find number 4 in a row. He has gone nuclear here over towards B and has helped them to at least get that first bit of progress on that site. Going for the second one now. 4-life lead for 705 Esports. And all the way back will get smoked off of it. And now as Pristini will get that second pick, Pentagram and Fame will finally be all the way back. But the damage is already done. 2 ticks of progress over towards B. They're just going to need 1, and they have the life to go ahead and sacrifice.
Yeah, they're still throwing lives at this as well. Speaking of some to come towards this B zone, but Fame will find a 2-piece, so now Royalty is the last one up here. He does have some help with Classic. They're a 2-player playing this corner, and as soon as Pentagram throws in, he'll die. Goddard will find a trade. Again, they're still unaware that Royalty moved his way back over here, so now the pinch play is in full of effect. And Royalty can just be an absolute nuisance. An ape is a loose in the back line of Electrify Steel. His name is Royalty. You have to deal with it. Pander finally able to get that trade as soon as he started working up that second segment over, or that last segment over by B, excuse me. But at least you're mitigating the damage. You're down to 30 seconds remaining, in 705 still yet to get a single segment over at A.
You think they maybe line up for a second over at B? But as you're back over towards A, you're just trying to find yourself some kills. More importantly, just all the progress and an extra minute on the clock. You got to look for play number 1, though. Pander's trying to make a flank here, all the way through the back lines. Pentagram in the middle will cut down Classic. Now you have to look for the rest of the teammates. Got a Rex that will fall, but it's still Pentagram who's trying to make the moves around. Swifty all the way down low. Fame will find it with the AR in hand. And although it was a great push over toward B, and yes, you're just trying to play for the ticks at this point, Andy, you still have to get that extra minute on the clock if you want to do anything with the B.
You really do. I mean, the segment progression is one thing, but adding on extra time to be able to make it easier is that much more to talk about. And it seems Electrify Steel recognizing, hey, we're down by 3 lives. We do want to lose this this defensive round. But you're going all in. You can just play the trade games if you are 7-5, but things become a little bit stickier when Pentagram does find 2 just lined up with one another, and you also have the coordinated pinch set up from Goddard X top fire, and he also has the read coming over towards rooftops. He ain't done yet.
Sitting in a corner. You've got help from Pander inside of P5 as well. As GodRx looks to the spawn side, you're able to win the first one-on-one gunfight that you need to start making your way up the map. 5 lives remaining here for 705. You can only afford to lose one more before every one of your defensive lines is all the way gone. 45 seconds left inside of the round here. No respawns for 705. Fame just playing inside a radio right now. You got 2 players all the way in the back line over by B. You're trying to win your gunfights one-on-one. Pentagram will find one on Pristini. Trade it out immediately after the fact. 2 versus 5. 33 seconds left, and Royalty will win a huge one-on-one up and towards the top of the church. This is still doable.
Yeah, now he's going to try to pinch this from behind. Last teammate is going to be Classic, who moves their way up through Church Alley. Royalty's in behind. Just a 1 life lead. Now he's going to take this time to wrap behind. He's got Dead Silence, sneaky as you like it. Is he committing too much time for this play? Because Classic goes down on the opposite side. So now Royalty needs to go big. Can't find these kills in enough time while getting all the zone. GodRx is already L-triggered up on this side of the map. Oh, man, did that get ever so close to be able to get that last segment of progress. The icing just a little bit too far out of the reach for Royalty to be able to get that last segment at B.
Would have been sweet if he would have been able to taste it. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get over towards that site. It's a beautiful hold there by Electrify Steel. Pretty much the entire round, it seemed like they were getting battered. They were down in terms of ticks. They weren't really getting the positioning on the map that they wanted to. 705 Esports, though, once they captured A, just allowed Electrify Steel to reset. They kind of did it for themselves as well as they played a more passive approach and let them grab that A site. So now you find yourselves in towards the top of the fire building. GodRx wanting to maybe start to solo hit over towards B. You read that one might start making his way all the way through on the flank. Classic will fly out the doorway. You're going to pick that off, and it's already going to be 2 ticks of progress here over towards A before contest can even be thought about by the side of 705 as they're all starting to hit the field.
This is a 2-1 lead for Electrify Steel, so I mean, if they do win this offense here, Alex, they'll just win. Again, it is a flawless start. Electrify Steel, 705 are only able to find 1 kill. Already got Fayman from behind. That's a coordinated pinch along with GodRx, who's already through the middle of the map. It's deja vu. You already have Electrify Steel, who already captured that first segment in the back.
Pristini Classic, double. Find everybody that's trying to make their way through on the flank now. Electrify Steel, they're just going to play passive here. Pentagram, though, gets a bit aggressive in the top of the church. You have to take that gunfight. Unfortunately, though, it's back to the respawn block, and you have to take more time off the clock here just to start setting up your hit over towards the B site. Pristini looks to the church, won't be able to find one, but is able to trade GodRx there at the last moment. 2-1 trade for Electrify Steel. They pushed up the map, and now it's 3 down here for the side of 705. Royalty, though, once again, proves to be huge for the squad as he finds yet another double, and now will allow himself and the rest of the team of 705 to set up on defense and hold another push from Electrify Steel.
He's just the B-Zone Reaper, ain't he? Every single time you really feel like that Electrify Steel are going to find themselves in an advantage. It takes Matt to be able to find that very crucial 2-piece. Diamondcon also to speak of 2014 here in the replay. Electrify Steel now, this is where they struggled in their previous being able to find themselves rotation. Gunfight losing the initial of the capture zone of A, and Royalty's going to get the better of at least one, tries to jump into Fame. That trade will come through. Fame trying to find more. He's also switching to the AR. He's able to take down DC. Now there's more numbers coming here for 705, so Electrify Steel pushing into the back. This could be crucial.
Snappers, pinch play, set up now for the side of Electrify Steel. You feel like if there's a moment to win this offensive round, it's got to be here. Trade there onto Diamondcon. 3 kills now for the side of Electrify Steel. The last one's going to be player number 6, all the way back over towards the church. Pentagram has now pushed his way forward. Diamondcon trying to find at least some information on the Electrify Steel players. You've got 2 players on the site, and everybody else trying to play spoiler in towards the middle of the map. Royalty around the corner, caught sprinting. Pentagram now able to get on the site. You stop the clock for just a moment and force everybody into a panic mode here from 705 because they got to get back to the point, and you read Pristini like a book.
What a read from Pristini coming in from the backside of P5. Now you know everything's going to be coming from the back defensive spawn. No one's watching a Church Alley directly. Fame needs help on the zone itself. There's finally going to be a player top green. Teammate comes through. 705 lacking the numbers. The trade's there, however.
Fame tries to sprint through. GodRx now trying to make a flank play down the backside of the staircase. Will be able to win the one-on-one with an AR. Turns to the corner. Diamondcon will win it there. 28 seconds left. Beautiful defensive hold by 705 Esports. If they're able to win it here, remember, it's a 2-1 advantage for Electrify Steel, so that will force a round 5 if defense can hold out. Still only 7 lives, though, so if you are Electrify Steel, you are going to play a glorified team deathmatch, but we also want to play it back over towards that point. Almost a double there for Classic. Pander with 1, all the way back in towards the top of the church. It's Pristini who walks away with a kill, and now with Pentagram himself in a 1 versus 4 over towards the site. He's just got to get over towards the point to try and stop it. He'll get on it, but unfortunately, they're reading it perfectly. Round 5 we go. 705 Esports will hold on despite a crazy, desperate attempt on the offensive side.
And it should be Electrify Steel on the offense again. They're going to have to try to do it once again because 705, if you remember going back to the previous round, they were just inches away from getting themselves that third segment over on the B zone. They got a total of 5 segments. We were coming back into this matchup with the lead for Electrify Steel, sure, but 705 absolutely have the tick advantage going into this. And yeah, you can see 705 players leaving because 705 did enough. They got that 5th segment in total on their last offensive attempt, Alex, which gives them that 1 tick progression over Electrify Steel. They're going to be able to have the defensive side on a very crucial swing map mode combination of Tuscan Control.
As Andy just explained, we are going to be ending that and then restarting that map back up to have the sides correct for this final round here. So as we have a moment to talk about the control thus far, if you can remember all the way back to that first round, it was Electrify Steel who looked extremely good on their first defensive hold against 705's offense. But it really has come down to Electrify Steel not being able to capitalize off of getting that A-zone first. 705 have been very, very comfortable with just allowing themselves to set up on the defensive side while Electrify Steel gets all 3 ticks of A. They had 2 minutes and 20 seconds to work with pretty much in both rounds. They're back over towards B. They just couldn't win the one-on-one gunfights to get themselves into the zone. They set up a couple of plays. They just didn't pan out the way they wanted.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because, again, you know, the opening engagements, we always talk about when it comes down to control, you know, where your numbers going to, where's your influence going to be coming through the middle of the map. And to be fair, you're looking at it from 705 defensively, they are putting a lot of players in focus over towards the middle of the map and stationary as you like it, that one island play over by B inside of P5, and a lot more influence from the ARs across the ruin side. It's very standard stuff. It's just how well Electrify Steel are constantly coming through and winning the gunfights outright, that by the time that you already see those 2 segments come through from a 2-player stack, all off your respawn for 705, you also recognize, hey, we're down by like 4 or 5, sometimes 6 lives is what we saw from the initial offense coming through from Electrify Steel. So you don't want to try to just full flood your numbers. That then you just have to be weary of being able to find those next engagements coming forward, because they obviously will be coming your way from either the top field position or through the middle of the map. It's just about setting those up, winning those gunfights, and then just constantly playing the trade game. There is how a lot of teams, much like what you're seeing from 705, stall out just an emphatic amount of time off the game clock.
Yeah, well, this control has been fun thus far, and I apologize for the breaks yet again. You know, we had an issue in round number 1 where a player did lag out, so we are having to take this time to go ahead and reset that lobby back up for us. We have the right sides here for the 5th and final round of the control. It is a 1-1 game tied between Electrify Steel and 705. If you are wondering where else you can find more Challengers action, it's at youtube.com/COD Challengers, where you can find the next match coming up in just a bit. Ultra Academy were able to take the Series 3-1 over the side of Ironblood, so that is going to remain themselves at a 3-0 advantage inside of Challenger Stage 4. They have themselves still an undefeated record. Ironblood will go ahead and finally at least drop their first map here inside of Stage 4 as well. So as we get ready to have things set up here for map number 3 to see who will take the 5th and final round, we're going to kick things to a quick break. When we come back, the coverage continues here for Stage 4 of the Challengers Elite North America. One final round here between Electrify Steel and 705 to decide who will find themselves with a 2-1 lead inside of this best-of-5 series. On the offensive side, it's going to be Electrify Steel, who are looking to make their way up the map. 705, as we mentioned beforehand, did have the amount of defensive, or rather offensive ticks in order to force their hand and get themselves a defensive side here in the final round of this Tuscan Control. And McCormiel with me is proper. 30 seconds have already gone off the clock, and no progress really on either A or B.
And big stark differences coming in towards this defense's final round of the Tuscan Control for 705 Esports. Typically and historically, the past 2 offensive attempts for Electrify Steel, they've been able to win the gunfights opening engagements, if you will, just outright, and only losing maybe a collective 2 lives between the 2 offensive attempts. 705 do well to be able to win it. They have shaved 11 lives off the board, and Electrify Steel have only found 5. They're struggling for map positioning, but most importantly, to get on towards one of these zones. I saw one of these, the game clock.
Diamond Con, it absolutely flew throughout the map. It was on a 4-0 spree to start things off. Classic down the staircase wins the second, almost the third, but Pristini is there to help out. So what was a risque play on the side of Electrify Steel to make themselves a push towards that B site with every single player they had in their arsenal. Turns flip on them. Now only 15 seconds. They've got to get over towards A, but it's Diamond Con who's once again out towards that statue side. Fame, one-on-one versus Pristini. You're going to have to win this gunfight here and towards the middle of the map, and you can't do it. It's a flurry of red and the kill feed. Player number 4 in Pentagram. You're down 9-22. Pristini's got a glide bomb now. Everything falling apart here in the final round of Control, and it seems like we just started this like a minute ago.
Yeah, Pentagram's just gonna try to jump out. Godarax is just, he's kicking his feet up. He's opened up one of those bottles inside of wine. He's had enough of it. 705, again, they just won the gunfights outright. They had all the map positioning going forward, and yeah, it felt like that we literally just went inside there, and maybe the game clock was stalled out for maybe about like 2 seconds at the very most. I mean, all of ESG were just not able to exist on one of those zones, no matter the amount of pushes you were looking at.
Normally we talk about like, oh man, that was a really good offensive try. There was a lot of pressure. We have a lot to talk about off that. That was a just defiant and dominant final round there from 705 Esports. The amount of ticks that they were able to get obviously paid out in spades for them. It starts with Diamond Con being able to start piecing with 4 in a row to get everybody off of the A site, and then Pristini all of a sudden in the round gets himself a sneaky little glide bomb, and well, everything just fell apart from Electrify Steel. So going back into a hard point now where Electrify Steel admittedly was able to win a pretty hefty margin in map number 1 against the 705 Esports roster. You know, Andy, I think we kind of beat everything that we could have out of this Control as long as we have. So setting up for map number 4 here, I guess the most important thing is going to be talking about what 705 can do differently, and I really feel like that comes with some sort of aggression to face the side of Electrify Steel that we did not see on Berlin.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely the case, and to be fair, we saw that be rectified immediately into that map number 2 of the Bocage Search and Destroy, where you had the likes of Pristini being able to get 3 first bloods out of the 10 rounds worth being played, and that was during that 4-round escapade that 705 were winning. The first 4 rounds of that entire map number 2 were all in favor of 705 Esports, and a lot of influence throughout the entirety of the map was coming through from, you know, the SMG lineup, specifically looking at both Royalty and Classic. You know, when we were watching through the very lengthy Tuscan Control that was that map number 3 between these 2 teams, a lot of that B-zone antics and those 2 extra segments that did garner 705 that round 5 defense really came through from a player like Royalty. You really need that SMG presence to be there, especially going into this Tuscan Hardpoint. We saw them be able to have said influence in their 250-149 win versus D1 Gaming yesterday, Alex, but it was not there in the Berlin Hardpoint. That needs to be a consistency if the 705 Esports want to close it in 4.
I mean, I guess the one thing that you can kind of recall from map number 3 was what Royalty was able to do over towards that B site. Sure, it was a small glimpse, almost like a sample in a petri dish, but at the same time, you can also kind of assimilate that to going back to the same map for map number 4, being able to hold down a multitude of hard points, but being able to be that aggressive SMG player that you want to be. It gives 705 a much more, I guess, staunch advantage against Electrify Steel, not in the ways of slaying, but more importantly, just having that map presence that was not showcased whatsoever in map 1. I mean, I know it was a long time ago, but need we go all the way back? The amount of passive play that we saw from them, specifically on P3, they got 120 seconds of time off of P3. That's something you can't just scoff at and say, we'll fix it later. No, you have to expressly say, hey, let's fix that. Let's hit the hill, because they had many times where they were ready and set up with 4 players who were all hitting lanes at the same time. They just didn't win their one-on-one gunfights, and when one person fell, they got stagnant. They didn't want to make that push. You just have to trust yourselves to maybe pop a 2-piece in a 3v4, or at least try to contest the hill.
Yeah, you're absolutely right in that in certain regards. There can never be, when you're looking at older Call of Duties, I guess, you can't fully chalk just that extra 20 seconds of scrap time to even come through. Because in the early stages of the hardpoints for Berlin, even go back to what you saw, Electrify Steel just be able to piece together, starting off on the first rotation in P3 was that 60 seconds. Walking away even from P2, when we saw 705, even with the initial setup, they still struggle to be able to get all of ESG off of the hardpoint itself, being able to fully wipe them away. They're always keeping every hardpoint contested, and the same thing could honestly be argued for the hardpoint resiliency that you could have here on a Tuscan hardpoint. You know, maybe borrowing the Michael Bay film, that escapade that comes through on a P5, or the gun show that comes through on P4. Those two hardpoints are very difficult to be able to keep contested for yourself for long periods of time, but 705 just need to be able to have that, not only just the initial gunfights to be able to break inside the hardpoint or to hold it, they need to be able to extend themselves past those gunfights as well, that when they finally have the dust being settled, when they do get 3 dead, that 3-for-1 trade, or a full 4 dead, you need to see more productivity coming out from their roamers, being able to pick up these longer lines of sight, being able to push the line of scrimmage just a little bit further, so that way they can then continue on with their antics across the map, not just one-dimensionally at a time from hill to hill.
I was going to say, with Tuscan being just that bit of a smaller map, the good news is for 705 is that ratty aspect that you love to play with, that sneaky aspect that you have, it is going to be amplified up by 10 because you can get in through good times on flanks, specifically over by P5 if you want to cut players down over towards P2 like we saw inside of the Control. But more importantly, this is just going to allow your SMGs to get off to a quick start, opposed to Berlin, where if you don't get it going as an SMG early on inside of the game, there's a good chance you might not be able to find yourself at all later down the line. So in an AR's heaven, SMGs are going to be blessed on Tuscan just a bit, and as we continue to vamp here, as we get ready for map number 4, we're gonna I guess kick things to a quick break real quick as we push forward. Never mind, I lied. Haha, that's funny. So we're not gonna kick things to a break. We're gonna keep talking about this best of 5 series. We're gonna keep talking about number 4. And Andy, as we kind of said beforehand, the one thing that Electrify Steel obviously needs to do here is they need to win map number 4. But if it's anything even close to what we saw on the Berlin, well, we'll be golden for themselves in forcing a map number 5.
Yeah, that map number 1 just starkly different from what we saw from ESG yesterday in their stint of losing about every single hardpoint that they played, barring just that one. But you need to be able to see them continuously click together. On the opposite side, though, you need to be able to see players like Diamondcon step up. Like, even they had a 1.23 KD on hardpoint specifically, with about a 62% through engagement success rate. That needs to be consistent going forward. Traditional 50-50 as you like. Across P1 so far, 705 able to stave off so far, at least most of the push, to be able to get themselves 21 points and growing.
What do we need to see? Right out of the gate, aggression from the side of 705. Royalty is able to put that up to a T. A double to start things off. Found another double later down the line. And as Classic starts to push his way forward, 5 seconds of scrap time. We'll go to Electrify Steel as 705 have now found themselves on the rotation. Pristinian P5 picks up the first. Diamondcon all the way through the back line. We'll be able to find one through Church. And now it's all going to come down to just making sure you can just pinch play for yourselves. Electrify Steel will still spawn just that bit closer over towards the Church side, and now can come down from the north side of the map.
About clearing away the backside, you want to make sure that all these spawns are just completely clear away. They will actually spawn in, and you can see Pentagram will also spawn in just outside of field. So, job's not quite done for these players in towards the back, such as Classic and Royalty. Still more work to be done for themselves, especially knowing that God RX from behind. But nobody clears that. Pentagram is all the way in towards the back. That should actually get the hardpoint a neutral status for the time being. But Electrify Steel, not only you need to be able to find these kills, but you need to be able to convert that into some time, because you've allowed 705 to quite literally build themselves a comfortable lead going into 3.
Yeah, I mean, it took some time to get themselves at least a substantial amount of time in towards P2. But at least they were able to break out 705, only give them about 10 more seconds of scrap time. And now you can start setting up over by P3. And as God RX was the first one out, he rotated about 25 seconds there to make sure he had an AR set up all the way in the back lines here. So this is going to be a very nice hold here for Electrify Steel. Very similar to what we might see in terms of a hill of P3 back on Berlin. So if they can get the majority of time here, we might start questioning 705's ability to break a back map hill.
Oh, God RX going to push forward a little bit. Spawns were in for the rooftop, so he thought a teammate was going to be able to pick that up, but you're just going to kind of have Diamondcon to worry about over inside of Vines, just holding the space. He's able to piece together 4 off the respawn, and that's as successful of a break you could ever ask for 705, walking away from the scrap time of P2, trying to keep it contested from the front. But it's the SMGs of ESG that are finally coming back to life, finally able to really enforce their hand from those close spawns. But you know, 705, just even with this 40-point leader's advantage that they have, they're going to contest this one more time. The nades are good. The SMG's even better. They will break back in for the last 20.
Royalty's already out. He's already escaped to the back lines, and the two players that are starting to make their way forward, they're going to be inside of the church, and Diamondcon's going to cut down the first one. So as Royalty will get cut down, thankfully for the side of Electrify Steel, you'll go ahead and secure yourselves the spawns, but you got to be careful of the field push that's going to be coming in from 705 now. Players number 3 and 4 with Royalty and Diamondcon now making their way over towards his side. GodRx will be able to find the first couple of shots there, but it's Diamondcon who was able to walk away with a kill. 2-to-1 trade. Kill feed now starting to show up red, but as a pinstripe kill feed allows the side of Electrify Steel to continuously spawn here towards the back. Pentagram will find a much-needed 3-piece as he finds the last player in towards the top of the church, can look to the front to help out the rest of the team. No time being garnered here, though, just yet.
Pentagram just needs to exist. You got GodRx trying to zone away to the top, and he'll lose the one to Royalty as well. That needs to be picked up by somebody because the blood started to come through the front. Pentagram needs some help inside the hard point itself. That's going to be Pander, but the Canadians, Royalty, got their way back in. Pentagram just being, you know, would have loved to be able to see them maybe get some streaks, but it really just felt like everybody else from Electrify Steel just could not exist inside the hard point. Pentagram, the only one positive. 12 and 11 for them. Uncharacteristic to say the least. 705 are absolutely just destroying Electrify Steel. They are outslaying them, and you would think that maybe that would be suggestive as far as the hardpoint score is concerned, and you'd be right. It is a 40-point lead in favor of 705. They will also be able to get themselves in a position to try to contest E5 early, but just as easy as it is to talk about, it much more difficult. You need your nades to be on point. You need to be able to get control of both levels of this hard point.
The trend continues. The only time that Electrify Steel have been able to get themselves here inside of map number 4 has either been initial time or scrap time towards the end of the hill. The mid-chunky time here, that's going to be the nice fatty section for 705, is going to be all in the red. So as Classic now on 4 in a row is going to be able to dip around the corner. You're able to find the first of a couple that are going to start coming up the staircase now. And just about the second there, Royalty will have some fun. Can't interrupt the staircase. Or at least be able to stop it for some time. Maybe line up there. I thought Classic might be able to find himself some streaks. Either way, though, 705 still with a nice chunk of time in the lead. And Diamondcon will find a double to get them the scrap time yet again. It's just a night and day from what we saw in map 1.
Really is. I mean, you're getting a lot more influence from players like Classic. Look, he's about double positive, 15 and 8 through the first series of hills, and Diamondcon Royalty only have a combined 24 deaths, 18 and 12, 16 and 13 respectfully, and I mean, you're just able to quite literally just exist inside the hardpoint for such a long time. About 2 minutes between both Classic and Royalty. The SMG's a lot more potent on this map for 705 than they were on Berlin, and they're making Electrify Steel just look absolutely silly. About a 60-point lead. Going in towards the second set, you need these kills to be there for ESG, and finally they will. But the help needs to be there soon after as well. You already have one player trying to zone away inside a church, but need a little bit more influence. Finally, it comes through Pander for 2. The Classic answers back with a double of their own.
Pentagram on a heady. We'll cut down the last pushing player from 705 that was going to be an immediate threat towards that P1 hill. Trying to break yourselves into the triple-digit mark just to get within a hair's reach. 705 Esports. Pentagram will now find himself 2 in a row. The rest of the team starts to make their way aggressively throughout the middle of the map. 10 seconds left here on scraps. Pentagram will turn around towards the left side door, cut that player down. Now escape back to the middle of the map with life in hand. 2 players now on the backside for spawns. It could be a pinch play getting set up here by the side of 705, but as Pentagram's able to find help there to Fame. Fame finds 1, and now they find themselves in the bottom of P2. 705 still trying to find their way in towards a hill here in the second set of rotations.
It's just the same as P4 going into the rotation over towards 2. You really felt like a Pentagram was putting in a lot of work, but all of VSG, to be fair, they turned P1 into a money hill. They're able to walk away with about 45 points or so. It'll keep them within 30, but the rotation going in towards 2 just wasn't there. Pentagram was finding a lot of value coming out from radio, but the rest just wasn't there soon to follow. So 705 realistically are looking at about an unanswered 35 seconds or so, unless these gunfights start coming the way of ESG. And to be fair, GodRx does find 2. The spawns have flipped. ESG are now spawning in the backside of church, and finally the war of attrition will be too much, but 20 seconds to comparatively to about the 35 that 705 were able to walk away with. They're okay with chalking that and set themselves up the rotation towards 2.
This is a nice 25 seconds here for the side of Electrify Steel, especially if you win the gunfights in the middle of the map, which they do. Fame is able to win it, so now it should be a 1 versus 2 in the back here. If you can find the player inside of fire, maybe turn around to the backside spawns, you might be able to influence them just enough to give the reinforcements some time to get there, but unfortunately we'll lose the one-on-one down the staircase of fire to Royalty, who now allows the rest of the team to set up all the way in towards the back. 705 got a lot of great time here on P3 the last time through, but the first kill there from Fame on an offensive push through the belly of the beast is going to be the wave nade. Royalty on a trade. 705 still getting time here with 20 seconds left, or rather 20 seconds already off the clock.
The nades just aren't there for Electrify Steel. They're just slowly working their way through these narrow choke points, and players like Versini are just L-triggered up, just waiting for it. The kills all soon to follow. 705 have been able to put themselves back on a few more streaks. Classic is on a 6. looking for that ever so wanted kill number 7. Do you feel like that glide bomb comes through on a pentagram, of which it will? Had to go look at another one on a Fame. You really do feel like that extra resource 705 are going to leave this way too far out of the stretch in the waiting arms of Electrify Steel.
Yeah, and I think that streak might just be the cherry on top of this game thus far. 10 seconds all the way through back in scrap time. I mean, sure, ESG, they were able to get a good amount of time here from P4 to P5's rotation, and then P1, they got a nice bit of time. But again, now crossing the double century point mark for 705, having that 207 to 139 lead, you're still up by 67 at this point. And with nades all the way in towards the back off the top, you have a pinch play from heaven waiting for 705.
Again, it's just the nade differential, just buying them so much space. Electrify Steel are trying to do it with their gunnies, and to be fair, they should be able to make that argument. They completely and utterly outslayed 705 in that map number 1, but not this time around. How with all the nades that are coming away from all the different fixtures in the walls of Tuscan? 705, very much so, not closed out here, but they can put themselves pretty damn close, and Royalty finding 2 more, battling over the last 25 seconds, even finding the 3rd. Kill number 30 there for Matt. Gotta actually try to get themselves in for some peace in mind for the church. Give them number 4. It's just too far gone. 705 putting themselves 20 points away from closing out map number 4 in the series.
Sure, an aid will come in. Yeah, you're going to get the last 15 seconds of time, and maybe you get yourself set up on a rotation over towards P5. But it'll have to be perfect. Say all the time. Snaps back around. Okay. I'm down. B5, sole possession, Electrify Steel at the moment. In the middle of the map, Classic tries to find one on the God RX. Will escape down over towards the well side. Still doable. Very improbable.
Pinch is starting to be set up. You got Royalty going on a very long flank. We'll get some squad spawns to come over inside of P3. Now the pinch is going to be coming through from Persini inside of Radio, and that pinch is in. 2 kills already.
Royalty down the staircase, wasn't able to find the last couple, so Electrify Steel will still hold on. 180 points to 235. Contest still going to be there. Fame now around the corner with God RX and the help of everybody else will be back in towards this point. 15 seconds for 705. Still going to be about 75 needed for the side of Electrify Steel, but they've brought this margin back down to what might be reasonable here back over towards P1. You're just going to have to win the scrap time here, and of course the rotation over towards P1. Off-screen engagement, player number 4 will win it. That's going to be big from Royalty, and now the spawns are going to be close. You see player number 8 get the timing over by Church, but the spawns are going to be down towards the bottom right corner, so if you're able to win the one-on-one here against Royalty, you might just have yourselves a shot.
The sun's not going to connect on top of him. You need to be able to deal with Royalty, and you need to somehow work your way across the map. You also have Gunner X that's completing towards the pinch. Panda takes out Royalty and turns the front, and Gunner X is able to complete towards the back as well. And that's massive to be able to get themselves at least contested for the hard point, but Classic, 1 HP and all, stays alive. There's reinforcements here.
Aggressive gunfight. Fame trying to win the one-on-one. Diamond Con there, 249 at 200. They're going to get the final tick of progress. And if you just might have stayed down there if you're God RX, you take the ego challenge, you lose it. And unfortunately for you, that means the end of the road inside of this best of 5 series. 705, 250 to 200. And despite a crazy comeback there towards the end of this Tuscan Hardpoint, they'll get themselves another win in the tally as they start to resurrect and push forth towards the playoff portion of Stage 4 of North America Challengers Elite.
Oh, man, I really thought that they were going to be able to do that that Cinderella run that we've seen on Tuscan Hardpoint quite a few times throughout the entire Vanguard tenure, where you're able to get yourself a very emphatic P5. You somehow win the rotation going over towards 1. But the moment that I saw Royalty being able to find at least that one gunfight, okay, at least you cleared away Church. That secured the spawns coming through on the backside of Church as well for 705 Esports. And again, it's just Royalty getting his hands dirty throughout the entirety of that map. I asked for more productivity and proactive gunplay coming away for the SMGs away from that Berlin hardpoint. And Classic, as well as Royalty, absolutely delivered, just always putting themselves in the most ratty and annoying positions possible. And to be able to find those rotational gunfights with relative ease, being able to over-influence, I guess, the jurisdiction that 705 had through a lot of these rotations and in for the initial time as well. It really did feel like that Electrify Steel had little to no answers when it came down to and resurfacing themselves back inside the hard point, specifically when they have themselves on 3. Even when Electrify Steel had themselves the advantage going in towards P3, 705, the nades were just that much better. They cleared them all out from the power positions. They just moseyed their way in, and they held that 40 to 50 point lead more often than not, as Classic just drops a dime, 34 and 22 with about 4,000 damage. That is just absurd. And to keep in mind that they only had 26 non-traded kills, that would then suggest what it absolutely is as far as math is concerned. Not too many times that Classic was being traded on these gunfights. It always felt like he was staying alive through the majority of the fights.
I mean, just looking at what Royalty was able to do, sure, you lead the lobby in slaying, and that's fine, but it's those two pieces, those three pieces that he was able to get that turned the momentum around in their favor. It started out at the very, very beginning of this hard point, where Diamondcon and Royalty kind of just paired up together, flew their way over towards P1, were able to win the majority of their gunfights. That gives them about that 40-second advantage going over towards P2, and it wasn't really until P4 on that first set where Electrify Steel really started to showcase any sort of potential or life inside of the Tuscan Hardpoint. And then sure, you can talk about what you will, the end and that midsection of the hard point and the second set of rotations when that came around, but I mean, overall, from start to finish, 705 did play the better hard point. That's obviously why they walk away with the win, but more importantly than anything else, I think if you're the side of Electrify Steel, there's still a lot to work, but Andy, we kind of framed it up at the very beginning of the broadcast. I said maybe it wasn't time to worry, maybe it's not a must-win against 705. Now every single match throughout the rest of the stage 4 is going to be must-win for Electrify Steel. If not, you're going to be facing relegation outside of Elites in the most important one of the year.
Quite alarming, isn't it? I mean, if you Electrify Steel, right? I mean, you lost to you lost to Ironblood, and then you also lost to Ultra Academy NA yesterday. Losing to 705 and also having to go up against Destroy the Odds later today is by no stretch of the imagination going to be an easy one for you. The competition in North America Challengers Elite Season 4 is just as what it was suggestive as far as Toronto was concerned, and the same thing I said in Season 3 as well. It's so competitive. To be able to say that you just have to win out is not only just a must at this point, is because you are quite literally halfway through, but you have to do it against some of the very tough combatants, such as, whatever it takes that Destroy the Odds squad later. And you also have 3 Kings as your final matchup in day number 4 next week. So it is very difficult, I would say that much, Alex, that you have to be able to win out. Not only you have to hope that those 3 series win, that if you do win out, or I'm sorry, for about the 4 wins that you could accumulate for yourself, that one head-to-head is good enough to hold your record over the other one to be, what, 4th place for playoffs? It's just going to be real tight going forward.
Not only that, but if you even get to playoffs, it's going to be another uphill battle, starting as that 4th seed if you're even able to get into that position. But I mean, mainly noting, of course, there's only 2 teams left that are going to be undefeated here inside of North America in terms of stage 4. And Andy, that's the next matchup that we'll be focusing on after we come back from a break. Whatever it takes, Ultra North America going up both 3-0. Only one team will remain undefeated here in stage 4 of the North America Challengers Elite. We're going to step aside. When we come back, we'll have that match framed up for you. A best of 5 series underway. My name is McCormiel. With me is Proper. We'll be back after a break. Two teams that are fighting for their seasons at the moment. They're not must-wins right now, but just kind of like Electrified Steel. You'd pretty much say that they are must-wins between Three Kings and D1 Gaming. Right now, 124-64, a pretty staunch lead here for the side of Three Kings. My name is McCormiel. With me is Proper. We've got ourselves another best-of-5 series here between, of course, Three Kings and D1 Gaming.
Going to be a massive turnaround if you are D1, considering how the beginning of the season has started for you. Not exactly where you want to be, and you're coming off of a very unfortunate loss to whatever it takes. Now, all of that said, this was a map mode combination that you were able to keep relatively close. You only lost that one by 15, but this one is looking anything short of that, as Three Kings Gaming might know them, infamously known from going back to Season 2 as Stallions, and looking to bring their way back into recency as more dominant fashion of where they used to be. As far as the scoreline is suggesting and how they won the rotation going over towards P1 so emphatically, it looks like they're reaching that form yet again.
17-8 from Mind, 14-8 and 14-7 from Yuli and Kaiser. Outslaying is, well, quite prevalent here early on inside of the game. Minute 24 from Cryptic, though. That's his score stat line at the moment. 3 good kills there from D1 is going to allow them inside of P1. And at the moment, you see player number 2 and Yuli starting to make his way back over towards that next hardpoint. Unfortunately, some bad timing off screen will allow Trix to pick up that kill and get some information on where Three Kings or what Three Kings might be deciding to do here, whether to play for the scraps or rotate on over towards the next point. And, well, right now, it just seems to be kind of a bit of both.
Might as well just hit all the way through P1. I mean, you have more than enough buffer to be able to do so with about a 70-point differential over D1, but they can also just try to finesse with the scrap time. That's Rupert trying to do it versus Yuli. Will lose that gunfight. So 2 seconds extra over towards Three Kings. Also got Trakes just trying to zone away the front side of fire. A lot of isolated engagements. Nobody initially inside the hardpoint here for D1. Just a little bit too static, but still Trakes finds the timing, finds one. They will be traded out over top side of fire, but gotta stall off Three Kings considerably unless Yuli can find more in the back.
Well, it was a good start to the slaying performance, but D1 since that point has started to make themselves known on the map. Bit of a comeback underway, still down by about 56, but it's a nice little comeback and a good start to get themselves here in the bottom of P2. Kaiser with the AR, hip fire shots are going to be their headshot going to land onto 1, so as 3 kills go the way of Three Kings, D1 Gaming now going to be fighting from the outside in yet again. They're trying to go ahead and get just that bit closer to the 200-point mark to really put this one out of reach.
Yeah, and again, that's 20 seconds. You don't want to go up without an argument. So Rupert, again, is going to be that guy for D1. Just maybe try to finesse for some scrap time. Would love to see some help. And that's going to be Drake's. That is kind of slow to come up from behind. But finds 2. How about yet another one there? Forces out the team kill from Yuli on a Cryptic. But about all the contested time you're going to be looking at. Still about 73 points is the difference. D1 desperately need to turn this into a money hill. But Mind, talk about how much influence they've had on the maps before we even hopped in towards this map number 1. Has themselves a glide bomb, calls it in, finds the opening pick for this rotation.
Stripe kill feed, but it opens up the dock side. Kaiser not going to be able to win the one-on-one. Trix has gone massive here over towards that left side of the map to hold down these spawns for the side of D1 Gaming. It'd be a great hold here if they're able to get all 60 seconds of time. They've gotten about the first 30, but through the front, Yuli and Mine going to pair for 2 all the way in the back. Here comes the contestation now. Spawn's still going to be there. Unfortunately, though, the gunfights aren't there just yet. Still playing tons of contest time. Yuli one slides around the corner, almost able to snap onto Aaron there too. But as Cryptic and Mine now try to play fire by themselves and slide in towards the point, all they're trying to do is just negate this last 15 seconds of time. But a good hill here overall for D1.
Yeah, not bad at all to the pistol even. Aaron able to find 4. What a necessary kill that was on Yuli, who's absolutely been hot throughout the entirety of this map number 1 of Berlin. 20 and 16 for them, but starting to bring down this differential to about 40. It just comes out of these rotational gunfights, if you will. A trade there from Thrash onto Cryptic, coming out from the train station. You also have Rupert moving their way in towards the back. Kaiser's going to be the main line of defense to be able to shun away any sort of these players from D1 Gaming trying to influence towards the back, but he misses the timing. Rupert's right above him, and he has some help from Trakes from behind.
Every few steps D1 Gaming uses to get closer to Three Kings. Three Kings are able to bounce back, smack them in the face, get themselves the hill time to basically extend the gap to what it was beforehand. Trix, though, was able to help out to tag up 1 inside of the point, wraps back around, but it's Mind who's still playing the tank head glitch all the way over towards this train side in the back. Still looking, though. Players that might be trying to cut them out. Yuli in towards the point will be able to find 1 shot on the Rupert will be good there as well. So another 2 quick kills for Three Kings is going to once again afford them some scrap time. And with 30 seconds left to go ahead and take map number 1 here, D1 Gaming, they're going to need to move them out and if they want to see the light of day here in map 1.
Yeah, it's just so damning because you not only try to contest this back 15 seconds, also have to look at maybe trying to get yourself considerable amount of time off P5. Now, to be fair, they are on the favorite side of the map. They just won 3 convincing gunfights, so that'll keep all of 3 Kings spawning in towards the back, but you need to be able to deal with them not only for this time, but also for a second time. Kaiser calls in the glide bomb. That's going to force all of D1 to be safe, but it allows all of 3 Kings to maybe go for the full wrap. A Thresh will at least mitigate that damage. They found mine, but they're aware that Yuli has also slipped the net from behind.
Finally, they cut down Rupert, though, who was being a nuisance over by the train side. Cutting a lane off the spawn side. 3 Kings now making their way back over towards the point. A good kill there from Kaiser is going to force out the gunfight from Trakes, and this Trakes will fall to the hands of Mind as well. It's 2 good kills for 3 Kings. 20 seconds is all they need to take map number 1. D1 have done a great job of being able to hold them out of the hill, but they haven't gotten enough time for themselves to really supplement the pushes that they've had. And now as Aaron gets cut down from behind, it's going to be the side of 3 Kings who are able to hop into the hill just once more. D1 Gaming will fall. It'll be the rotation back over towards P1.
And again, it's D1 that are here. They only allow 3 seconds to come through for 3 Kings on that P5, but their flank is not secured. They're taking a more keen focus in towards the front. It's leaving behind Thresh to watch dubsteps and just wait for the inevitable flank that is currently being put together by Kaiser, who finds the angle onto Thresh, usually from in the front. Now it's up to Aaron to be able to suppress this push. They're also being gunned from behind. The kill feed just too strong. 3 Kings have broken on in.
Kaiser looking for the pre-aim. Around the corner, we'll be able to find Thresh. Both of them line up. Aaron around the right side corner. Kaiser for 5 in a row. And the 3-piece inside of the hill is going to allow 3 Kings not only to shut them down, but shut off the game. 250, 127, or excuse me, 172 as D1 will unfortunately find themselves yet at the dismay of another map 1 loss, this time to the hands of 3 Kings.
Wow, and again, it's just one of those things that 3 Kings just did a fantastic job when we immediately hopped in, just outpacing D1, just splitting them on every single different front. And that'll be quite obvious as far as the just the KD ratios are concerned. To be completely fair, D1, they started turning things up, when we actually started inserting ourselves in towards P3. They contested P2, but it never actually amounted into that secondary gunfight that needed the numbers to be able to cut down the reinforcements for that 3 Kings roster that just always felt like that they were just reproducing themselves continuously. You cut off 1 head, 2 more sprouted in their place continuously. Just these double kills that came through from the last player alive from 3 Kings is the reason why they were able to walk away with an abundance of time off of some of these money hills.
Take a look at the statistics here from both of these 2 teams, but you'll notice the stark differences right off the rip. 30 and 17 there from Mind, Kaiser at 24 and 18, and then Yuli 26 and 20. But then you look further down, although Cryptic didn't have a great game for himself, he still was able to go ahead and help out the rest of the team in terms of hill time, as well as just getting those couple of shots on the players to get some of the assists that came through along the way. So D1 Gaming, nobody positive except for one person at even in Trakes. Again, they made it close, but when you have a map where unfortunately Thresh is having 1700 damage, you're probably not going to be able to walk away with it, especially against a formidable opponent here inside of the Challengers Elite stages. So, Andy, map number 1 out of the way, but I mean, just looking overall at the statistics and everything, we'll take a look at our map set. Bocage, S&D, we're heading to next, and then a Tuscan Control for map number 3. That's our guaranteed map set. Tuscan for 4 and 5, should we need to go down the road, but really 3 Kings just looking solid in the map number 1 there, and that was kind of what we were hoping to kind of see out of them, especially in a point where they're not really looking too good in the season.
No, they're not. I mean, they only have, that is actually now their second map win because 3 Kings were not able to play their first matchup on the day. That was going to be going up against Destroy the Odds. One, to my understanding, has been rescheduled. So they're looking for their initial bounce back here as far as the opening day is concerned. They lost 1-3 to whatever it takes yesterday, and then they lost 0-3 to Ultra Academy North America. That one map win that they do have is, of course, on Search and Destroy, where they were putting themselves in a masterful state of mind, and a lot of that work is actually coming away of Mind, and even through the maps that they did lose, versus both Ultra Academy North America and whatever it takes yesterday, Mind was still putting up a masterful performance. Within Search and Destroy alone, you're really going to be watching them try to influence those first blood engagements. Out of the 5 times they got into those engagements yesterday in the 3 Search and Destroys that they did, or the 2 Search and Destroys they did play, they were able to walk away with the first blood engagement about 80% of the time. It's almost the same thing that you really saw throughout the entirety of that hardpoint for 3 Kings. If Mind can find themselves that first pick, that first blood, as far as the overall gunfight is concerned, more often than not, 3 Kings will walk away with the battle more often than not.
Yeah, and before we get too far ahead of ourselves real quick, I do want to say, I know before the break I did say that whatever it takes in Ultra North America, we're going to be playing here. That actually got moved up towards the other stream, so if you are looking for that matchup, just tap them both open at the same time. You can watch the games that are going on here, but that's youtube.com/COD Challengers if you do want to go ahead and find the side of whatever it takes in Ultra Academy NA. Right now, it is whatever it takes up 1-0 in the series, and they're up 5-3 in the S&D, so this is looking scary for Ultra Academy NA. Andy, we were kind of talking about beforehand, I guess we'll just touch on it real quick. Whatever it takes has the potential to be that team that everybody's kind of afraid of. They're making their waves, and, they might just be able to take down what many consider and really what is the best team in Challengers.
It would really say a lot, right? Not to mention just the mental stir it would be for Ultra Academy North America, because, you go back to Season 3 of the Elite throughout playoffs in Ultra Academy NA. They did technically beat that whatever it takes roster twice on over. That was when they still had Major Maniac and Neptune playing along with them, but, they fall short to that same roster, which was known as Shady Kings, at the Toronto Open just 2 weeks ago, and now they're also losing this series right now, losing map number 1. Sure, but, also being down on a trademark map mode combination that Ultra Academy NA are obviously all very comfortable on historically since its inception, is Berlin Search and Destroy. So, yeah, it definitely would say a lot to see the strengths of how good this whatever it takes roster is, with their near 2 being with Fellow and Clay.
Yeah, well, we'll focus back on Three Kings in D1 just for a moment here, going into the Bocage Search and Destroy. We also do have the other focus match here for us. They haven't started their series yet, but they will in just a minute. Iron Blood and 705 will be where we're kind of following along when Three Kings and D1 Gaming aren't really on. But at the moment, going into the Bocage S&D, again, Three Kings, their only map win was an S&D coming into the series, so you'd have to feel at least they have some sort of comfortability in the mode. D1, on the opposite hand, they have played pretty close games in Search and Destroy, but still up to this point, once again, their only map win was in the Search and Destroy as well. So both of these teams really living through the model of, Search and Destroy might win a map, but still have yet to climb over the hill for a series. So it'll change for somebody here today. We just don't know who.
You're just really hoping that this Three Kings roster, again, back-to-back top 3 placings, going away from seasons of the Elite. Electrify Steel last season, Stallions in Season 2. Not to mention how they also got top 8 at the Toronto Open. Definitely want to be able to showcase what they are bringing to the table for this Three Kings organization. And, well, they're actually setting themselves up quite wonderfully to do it. First and second blood. Yeah, why not? We'll take it.
This little drop down. Rush around the corner. We'll be able to at least find things out to an equalizing trade. Not a 2 versus 2 just yet, but still a 2 versus 3. 30 seconds off the clock. Gonna make its way up the map. Fortunately, right now, though, for D1, at least you play with a bit of time. You might be the play here. We'll just have to wait.
They completely flipped the map. Whether or not Aaron, the bomb carrier, is aware of this, he needs to plant that bomb and extend this round. He loses his teammate of Thresh, who was isolated inside a bar. Now here comes Three Kings. They know exactly where it's at. Aaron, 31 HP, trying to get out. Can't get through tools. Line will cut him to pieces, who finds 3 in the round itself. And yeah, it's interesting because I didn't actually get to watch the VOD of that map number 2 between D1 and 705, because this is a map mode combination that D1 did play yesterday. They lost 1-6 on it, and I wish I had more of a talking point comparatively to what I do have for this Three Kings Gaming. Again, through the 2 maps of S&D they played yesterday, it was both on Desert Siege, 6-4 win versus whatever it takes, 2-6 versus Ultra Academy North America, and throughout the majority of every single one of those rounds that were played, it was mostly mine instigating that first blood, walking away with it. More often than not, those rounds were all W's for Three Kings.
Well, it's hard to disagree with that when you see he's at 3-0. Bomb in the hands on the offensive push now here. Yuli trying to make his way over towards this B site. You see 2 players trying to play in through Grandma. Cryptic will be able to find the first blood here for the side of Three Kings. So far, it's been a nice little couple of rounds for the side of Three Kings. And as the nade goes out, and you're just trying to find some more information, that bomb will go down to B. That's a 45-second restriction here for the side of D1, who are trying to retake in a 3 versus 4.
Oh, Aaron's knocking another Cryptic is back here, finds the first. Thresh being cut down by an island play on the opposite side, and my heavens. Three Kings are just dissecting them. They find that first pick, they move the bomb over towards B, and although you really got to respect what D1 are offering to the table, look, you lose that first blood, you don't want to just try to press forward, you want to try to see if you can catch a player with their pants down, trying to get a little bit more forward positioning. It just not pan out for them, this Three Kings roster. Again, Just so good at search and destroy. They have only lost a single life, by the way. Thresh is the only one with a kill. 2 rounds. Mine's on 4 in a row.
He's pretty good.
Let's get these stuns and nades going here, D1. We got to be able to read where some of these 3 Kings players are located at. Let's get some kills.
Maybe some information would be cool.
Wouldn't hurt.
I'll have to find a blood. No, there it is. Mine will fall. First time in the game for himself. But it's just as quickly as mine falls. The rest of the cavalry is there. 1 versus odd yet again. This time it's a 1 versus 3 for Trakes. Looking for his first kill of the game, and well, they'll just double challenge around that left side corner. So 3 Kings looking quite nice here without the first 3 rounds. And even though if you kill your leader, well, they'll still fight just as they did for Airman.
Again, it's just happening time and time again where that first blood does come through on the 3 Kings, but the way that they're setting up all these defenses, they're just all so close to one another that you're never within a trade's distance away for either of these members for 3 Kings. Now, luckily enough, you did find Mind, who they were able to walk away with at least 1, if not 2 of those kills, would have put themselves closer towards streaks. But still have Yuli, Kaiser to worry about. They're both on 3s now. Speaking of 3s, 3 Kings up 3-0 in this search.
Trakes will open up the top grandma side of things. This allows a perfect nade spot for Yuli, who's going to get it right below his feet. He'll be able to run away, but the tag will be there. Information given. Still a 4 versus 4, but a world hope here for 3 Kings as they know exactly where a couple players would be. Door's going to open up. They're going to high-low, and one's laying down, one's above. That was perfect. 4 versus 3 now. Once again, blood's coming in for D1. We have a triple donut watch here through 4 rounds of S&D.
Now, Thresh finds 1, at least with a nade. That'll solo up the offense, you would assume. Mind helping things out for D1. At least a team nade coming through. Rupert will put themselves on the board. There's 1v1. Mind still holds the bomb. And his last known whereabouts, I mean, he might not know where Rupert is. He might not care. He's just going to push over by the tower. Doesn't even need that sign. He's just going to put himself in 1-for-1 position. Does Rupert even move? Because Mind needs to make the play. Mind, he has the bomb in hand and needs to extend the round to 45 seconds, but everybody's just taking a gaze and a half at this half wall. Finally, Mind moves.
Just wanted to dangle a mistletoe right there. Hopefully bring them together. Maybe a quick smooch. Number 3, though. Top of the ladder. Oh, can he get the worst timing ever? Because he's going to go directly under the tunnel. So Rupert gets bad timing. Was just trying to play the corner. Waiting for maybe Mind to come to him. And no, Mind comes from behind. Oh, no. Oh, baby. Well, he at least got a kill on the board, so... Step in the right direction for sure, but
we're getting there. We're getting there. And again, look, if you are watching this from the perspective of D1 Gaming, they did everything right in that situation. Did Rupert right? You know, you're able to at least mitigate the damage. You saw that the push through, or at least it was being communicated from D1 that the push was coming through and around the back. You find that 1 kill, and you just play for the retake at that point. You just play inside that corner because you know that there's no way unless Mind just somehow just sprouts wings, able to somehow just get on top of the castle tower. You're just going to have to play for the retake, but need an answer here. You do not want to go down 0-5. It's already not a comfortable situation. D1 playing a little bit more passive, waiting off these stuns and nades and seeing the 3 Kings offer themselves through the middle of the map. So far, nobody giving any information from 3 Kings.
I mean, right now, if you're D1, sure you haven't found any information just yet, but I mean, this is kind of a testament to how the game has gone so far. You haven't been able to find any success, so now you're playing extremely passive. You're just trying to find that first pick. But when 3 Kings won't give you the opportunity for a pick, you're going to have to force it yourself. That's going to have to come from 2 players at least making a push together, being there for a trade, or just unfortunately getting pieced. So we'll see what happens. Kaiser, top of the lighthouse, now looking back over towards that left side. It's been a clean 4 rounds, 4-0 for Kaiser, 4 in a row. Mine still at 6-1 leading the lobby.
I know someone's in there. Look, the window is open ever so slightly. Thresh gives it up. You have that 1 first blood that came through from Trakes, but Mine's there for the trade. 3v3 we go. Bomb moving its way past A, and Cryptic finds one on the Thresh, but Aaron's still committed towards this. The stun doesn't connect on top of him, but Cryptic's still coming from behind.
He gets away. He gets inside of the building, but he's just going to hop right on the bot. This is such a smart play from Kaiser because Aaron's not even going to be wiser to check it, or will he? Going to have to open the door, Mine around the corner. Not even going to go for it. That right there, folks, is exactly what you have to do in those moments. You know that the player's inside there. He doesn't want to lose his life. They're already down 2-3. They've been playing passive the whole round. Why wouldn't they do that longer? That's a beautiful way to hop on the bomb right there. Better moves from Kaiser.
And you assume that the plays mostly come through the middle of the map because Mine swings in through tools and finds 1 inside of old AS&D. And the trade was there, so, I mean, Rupert immediately communicates, just like, don't worry, I got you. Again, the door being closed, there was no immediate way of checking it. There was no other information, no stuns, no nades, anything. Kaiser just hops it. It's the 3 Kings up 5-0, ready to go up 2-0 in the series.
You thought the S&D was going to be closer. Think again. Aaron at 0-5 right now. Unfortunate here instead of the map. Thresh forced back all the way into the spawn side. Rupert falls. Another blood here for the side of Three Kings. It's really been either Mind or Cryptic finding first bloods every single round. Now as the bomb works its way over towards B, it will go down. 1 versus 4. Aaron will get his first kill on the board. An attempt at a 1 versus 4. I'm down.
He's got so much room to try to cover. He's going to get chowed by the 1. Does find Mind. Does he get away? Yeah, he does. Yuvi and Cryptic are playing this super isolated. I don't think Aaron's going to be able to understand that there's going to be one player from behind. Throws out the tack. He's the barrel. He's going to force out the 1v1. 23 seconds.
Middle of the map. Last one alive is Yuli. What a way to start a full sail sweep. Aaron has to look over towards the left and in towards the tunnel. Oh, he's going to choose the wrong side, and he won't have any time to go for the defuse. So what could have been a 1 versus 4, unfortunately, doesn't lay at his fingertips until the final moment. He'll get the final kill here in the round, but can't go for the defuse. Beautiful, beautiful demonstration of play there. Unfortunately, just not enough time to work with it. Picks the wrong side. Three Kings, 6-0 win here instead of the Search and Destroy, a 2-0 lead in this best-of-5 series.
Yeah, ain't bad, man. I mean, this Three Kings roster, again, through every single round being played of the 6-0 win there was just as decisive as you like it, you know, through the early stages of the rounds, just fishing off first blood, and even the 2 first bloods that came through from D1 Gaming, just everybody, you just really did feel like it was right there to, like a posse almost, were Three Kings. They lost one of their boys, and then everybody else just came swarming around wherever D1 were located at, and so fast as the gunfights came in, Three Kings were winning it more often than not. It's just how decisive they were on that Bocage Search and Destroy. And Search and Destroy, historically, has always been one of the stronger game modes for this 4-player team that when they did put themselves together, even with 2 real on the roster originally back in Season 2, it's just something to be hold for yourself. That Search and Destroy is something that they can lean on yet again as they go up 2-0 in the series.
Oh, way to get your first 4 kills in the S&D there, by the way, but 20 seconds now for the side of Ironblood Gaming. Looking to find the scrap time here. This is the match that we're going to be following on closely. Welly at 5 in a row here for the side of Ironblood. Looking for number 6. Shots are going to be there. Won't be able to find the kill. Hops back and down towards the point. Going to be able to clean up that last kill for the final 3 seconds of time. However, though, stretched out across the map, 705 have set themselves up on a nice rotation. Nobody there for the initial time just yet. But since they realize that they pretty much have every lane watched across the map and nobody's there to really make a move just yet, they can go ahead and play that just a bit more haphazard.
Hey, this is a map mode combination that we saw 705 just not even a few moments ago being able to beat Electrify Steel on 250 to 200. They also have that 101-point win versus D1 yesterday where we really got to see players on your screen like Royalty and Classic, the SMG lineup, just really step up to the plate and really just knock it out of the park. Yesterday, we did see Ironblood play this. It's a 250 to 151 win over D1 Gaming. You're just hoping that the pacing will be there for Ironblood, who are coming away with a unfortunate loss to Ultra Academy NA, where they ended up at least winning that map 1 on Bocage. But so far, coming up all aces for 705s. They have themselves just a really nice 50-point lead. They're going to be looking to get scrap into initial, especially if Royalty can find a few more in the back.
4 in a row. Number 5 tries to snap one for number 6. I thought maybe, just maybe, Adam gets wrecked. Fortunately enough, though, Ironblood will win the gunfights out towards the field, or at least the last one that mattered. Get the spawn side, be able to be in towards the bottom of the church. 10 seconds go without the first contestation. 705 gets in for just a moment. Diamondcon in the back will find Welly in an immediate spawn right after the fact in towards the back there is going to allow them to be able to go for 3-on-1. And now back in towards the point in the bottom of the church. It's going to be 705 who will extend their lead to past 100 points as the flood now comes from the field side yet again from Ironblood Gaming.
96 v 43 going in halfway through P4. Really need something to start collecting here if you are Ironblood, and Royalty has just been running routes. He's just sprouted wings. I've never seen a man jump so far in my life. Gets from Welly from behind, but clean enough finesses around the box long enough for reinforcements to at least be there for Ironblood. But just as soon as the trades come through, at least onto 1, 705 swarm across the map. They have broken back in for the back 10.
E5 there. Noisy looks for the gunfight there with Pristini. Slides around the corner. Left side challenge. Beautiful there. Snaps for 2. Everybody down now from Ironblood Gaming. It's been another good performance here on a Tuscan Hardpoint from 705. We saw the last one against Electrify Steel. It was not close. This one has not been close either. Ironblood, remember, they were a team that, you know, wasn't at the highest extent, but, you know, they're still a team who is 2-1 here instead of the elite. So this would be a great confidence booster for 705 if you're able to take this series. But, of course, you got to start slow and go for the hard point first, which you have a lead in, but it's not guaranteed.
30 points to let the fight over here. Iron Blood would do well to be able to find the rest of it, but this is exactly where we saw players like Classic just really heat things up. The double engagement on the other side of the broken wall. Persini will actually find a team nade and team kill on the Classic, but it doesn't even matter. I mean, 705 for killing everybody, including teammates, and they're going to break right back into this hardpoint. And that really does feel like it's been the narrative through the entirety of this first set of hardpoints. Ever since we first hopped in, Iron Blood have continuously given themselves looks at setting up for the hardpoint, but 705, just as aggressive as it may be, whether it's Royalty finding these routes and avenues to get in from behind, these constant three pieces have been a thorn in the side for Iron Blood Gaming. They've just been unable to piece anything past just a select few seconds here or there across the first 5 fills of play.
It's a 100-point lead now here for the side of 705 Esports. Pristini on 4 in a row. Nobody there for contention right now. Middle of the map pretty much cleared. Off-screen engagement going to go to the hands of Classic, which is going to clear everybody out of that mid portion. They're setting themselves up for such a good amount of time here. Should be able to get to that 200-point mark, pairing a contest that does come through, but these gunfights are still being won. Classic's on a one-man army right now, by the way. 5 in a row that he literally just got throughout the middle of the map by piecing Iron Blood Gaming into the dirt.
That's pretty much it, man. I mean, you look from top to bottom, just out Slade. You need players to start getting activated, and that could be Welly's turn. Can't find the third. It's that last player that's alive. It's Classic on a 6 spree. Looking for kill number 7. Do you really feel like the glide bomb, if this wasn't already out of reach enough for Iron Blood, that glide bomb would surely do it. Especially knowing that 705 do not have this rotation intact. Royalty, maybe looking for that first blood across the patio side. Classic with a nade, gets kill number 7. And you might just call it in here. Get those spawns because they're already finding the kills in the front.
Breaking through at every point. About to get to 200 points here instead of this map number 1. Iron Blood Gaming have just not looked the same. Or maybe it's 705 that have just looked so good on this map. 30 seconds left here on P2. Noisy in the bottom of the church. You're just trying to hold everybody from the front right now, and it just can't even seem like anybody will buy a gunfight. Welly, the only one positive, went on a few streaks here and there, but you can just look from the disparity of time gained from each player to the side of 705 Esports. This game has not been close. That's as much obvious to anybody watching. If you're just looking at the score, you could be a new player, you could be an old player. It does not matter. Rotation over towards P3. At least won't be won by Pristini, so you're giving yourselves an opportunity here. It's not, you know, end of the world, still possible, but another 3-man down like that, it just doesn't seem probable proper.
42 and 32 are the SMG lineup between Royalty and Classic right now. It just really speaks volumes to how much value these two have been bringing to the table, especially from the past 2 Tuscans that we've seen, in my word.
Jesus.
Yeah, give DC a sub. He's on a 5 spree already. Keep in mind, you saw the glide bomb for Classic. You can call it in just for, you know, I don't know, streak shenanigans, but it may not matter because you got yourself just all the kills in the world. Finally, Noisy will break the mold as far as the trade is concerned, but...
How about another?
Yeah, why not? Sure. Got yourself a glide bomb. The push is coming in from the back, but 16 points are all you need, and 705 might just put yourself in the 100-point club. Good heavens, Diamond Con.
Oh. Diamond Con almost was able to get to double digits. All the way in the back. They do not want to allow this out of Iron Blood to be able to get past that triple-digit point. Hitting for scraps. Welly going to be there looking for Diamond Con. Has to touch for maybe a contestation here. And they'll be able to get it, but the rotation going to be won by 705. 250 to 97 will be your final score here for map number 1. It was a thrashing from the start and a thrashing to end it. 153-point win here by the side of 705. Andy, if there's one thing that I can say right now, and again, it's a small sample size, I wouldn't play 705 on Tuscan.
I probably would hard veto this map going forward. Royalty looks way too comfortable on a map like Tuscan, finessing their life. Had themselves winning about 8 non-traded kills. Had some casual stuff coming out from Royalty, and that's just absurd when you let SMGs just get away with highway robbery continuously. You just always feel like that you're able to quite easily work your way across the map if you're submachine gun, but you're always being gunned down from the side. We saw just a lackluster performance from Noisy, and it's not from a lack of their trying. It's just how much more influence throughout the entirety of the map. You had players like Royalty always putting themselves in pristine positions, and Pristini soon to follow as well. When he came down to finesse for scrap time, he was winning those fights more often than not. That it really made players like Classic just completely go unnoticed, who more often than not was just playing corners, waiting for players to rotate, caught them with their pants down, caught them lacking a little bit. And the same could be said about Diamond Con, just posting himself in towards the back. I had just about 2 minutes for the hardpoint time, did Pristini, 30 and 16. 13 of his actual kills came inside of the objective itself. You just could not get Preston out of the hill. Couldn't do it.
Yeah, well, it also helps when Tyler's not having one of the worst games I've seen him have, and Adam Assault almost double negative there as well. So it wasn't really good slaying from the side of Iron Blood, and that was again very very blatantly obvious. But 7-5 just played it well. That's really all you can say at the end of the day. Their rotations were clean, their breaks were clean, the sprays that they went on through the middle of the map were clean. They just are very comfortable playing a very chaotic Tuscan, and it works out perfectly for them because while they're playing chaotic, they control the spawns at the same time, and they're able to just completely and utterly dismantle the opposition off of it. Royalty only had 2,300 damage, still walks away with 23 kills. So he was there to help out teammates. He was there to get themselves those early engagements. We'll switch back to our main game now. Also, a side note before we go ahead and really start getting into the thick of things in this control here, Andy. I don't know if you had it open on the side screen like I did.
Oh, I saw it.
Yeah, whatever it takes just got 3-0'd, or excuse me, whatever it takes 3-0'd the side of Ultra NA, and it was not a close series. It was a 250 to 149 hard point and a 3-0 on the final control there. Maybe it's the internet. Sure, we'll use Copeg for that one, but oh my God, wow, we might have a new team at the top of North America.
Yeah, I mean, if that wasn't already obvious coming away from just Toronto itself, that Brack and Turiel are the absolute truth. Clay and Fellow have been playing in top form. I was watching it the best of my ability I possibly can. As cross-eyed as I enjoy going throughout these long days of round-robin gameplay, it's just nice to be able to see whatever it takes really come into their own. Toronto Ultra Academy NA need to be able to figure it out going in through the rest of the season. You know that whatever it takes, you're going to be there down the line. Getting back into this one, though, Three Kings on the offense, halfway through that second segment of progression, have themselves at least a solid life lead, but Rupert mid-map trying to influence it, sets up Thresh wonderfully, as well as Aaron to break up the setup here on A.
Take your progress on A. 35 seconds left. If you are D1, you're very happy with this defensive setup here thus far. Sure, you're down by 2 lives, but you've dwindled the time down enough to where if they want to hit towards B after they complete this A zone, it's going to be very difficult to go ahead and do so. Kaiser up at the top, Cryptic down below. Trakes now is going to be able to find a second kill instead of the game. Kaiser is at 4 in a row on top of the boat, but again, with such little time to play for here, Three Kings need to desperately push either towards A or B. And they've actually zoned off the side of B. They might be able to capture this, but actually they're just going to come north to south, go back for this A point.
Just want to try to extend the game clock here by any stretch of the imagination. You got a 5-life lead. And if you're D1 Gaming, you're going to play the smart. You're going to give up this A zone. You're going to allow the game clock to stretch up to about 71 seconds or so. And you're going to try to get some more map positioning going forward because you already know that you have Yuli in towards the backside of green. So that's going to be the call for Thresh to play this like a chess game and just try to put themselves over on this first cut coming out of the offensive spawn.
Get their way through the spawn side. 3 players up towards the top, 15 versus 11. Rupert playing the flat gun right now. We'll be able to find one. Kaiser, nice shots there, are going to at least take that player down and give them a little bit more positioning as they start to make their way up the map. Player number 4 there off screen. Cryptic's going to be there. Kaiser trying to go ahead and pair for another one all the way from behind with the pistol. Knows that the second one is there, but Trix will win the one-on-one gunfight. 12 versus 4. 4 life advantage. 43 seconds left here inside of the round. And as there's 3 players pushed all the way back over towards B, Rupert is still just being a nuisance here in the top of P1. So many good kills have come through already from Rupert. Cryptic around the corner will finally cut that down. Still 10 versus 7. Time to work here. Very, very slim. You got about one more good push.
You needed that coming away from Rupert. You need him to stay alive. Some help needs to come through. Stuns, nades. There's B. Oh my. It's just everything to deal with Rupert up top P1. Now no respawns remaining. 17.5 seconds. Finally, someone touched the zone for Three Kings. That will be Yuli. They'll be cut down. These 3 lives that D1 have left might just be able to hold on, but they need the kills to come through. It's just up to Aaron. Kaiser needs to stall out the clock. Aaron's inside of green. They know where he's at, but he might not be able to get here. He might just get gunned on his way, Alex. He's got no nades. He has to be able to find the kills, finds the first, but there's so many more players up top of P1, and Three Kings will save off the rest of the lives that D1 had to offer for themselves, and we'll walk away with an offensive round win.
That right there is just the classic place of being able to cut down a couple of players as you start to make your way up the map. Get the lives in your advantage, and then be able to collapse back over towards B. It did not look like an advantageous round there for Three Kings, or one that they'd even start to win there, Andy. They were playing for those kills early in the round. Maybe that did help them out, but, they only captured that B or that A zone with about 20 seconds left on the game clock, and it forced their hand many, many times to get back over towards that B site, but they played it well. They were able to start pushing through that south side of the map, make that pinch, got a couple of players of D1 off that flank gun, started making their way back over towards the B site, and they won the one-on-ones that they needed to at the right times. Rupert in the middle of the map looking for a few players. Kaiser and Yuli looking to work the top of the LST ship, and as Yuli's able to find some nice shots throughout the middle, slides with the hip fire. It pairs for 2 here in the bottom. They're going to go ahead and knock 3 lives clean off the board, and a flawless start to the round.
Three Kings also have superior map positioning as well. Look at them going to start funneling into the line of sight of Mind, who is playing that first cut again. It's just keeping them weak for all the players that are still playing towards the top LST ship. So Trakes need to put in time and investment to get Mind out of that positioning. It's taking a lot of time for D1 to try to get out from their spot. Nice nade over the top will be there from Aaron. That'll open up LST ship unbeknownst to them. Still have two players, Three Kings, trying to get themselves ring control.
This little double nade opens up a route to get in towards the ship. Mind down below. Rooper up towards the top. Going to be able to spot out Mind. We'll be able to walk away with the kill, but both of them will back off. Trakes now from the middle. We'll be able to spot out Mind. Now you slide around to the right side of the tank. You're able to pick up 2. 3 good kills. And as quickly as Three Kings started with a nice life advantage for themselves, it's been evened and equalized immediately after the fact. D1, first tick of progress here at the bottom of the A ship.
30 seconds is where the clock is stalled out. You need this to be as emphatic as a push as what we saw from Three Kings previously, but the trades are just not there. Cryptic slips the net, gets him from behind. Luckily enough, Trakes is there, so you're able to keep your man on the zone alive. That's Thresh, at least twice for the time being. Now it needs to be picked up by somebody, but these kills are just not convincing enough. The clock is still ticking on down to 18 seconds.
Life advantage for the set of Three Kings on defense. You have to get into the bottom of this A ship if you want to go ahead and see the light of day of a final round here in round number 5. You'd think losing a defense here would be pretty much impossible for the set of Three Kings. And as D1 Gaming has been cut down at every stretch of the imagination, Thresh will be the last one up and towards the top, trying to get back over towards the ship. So 1 tick of progress is all that the side of D1 Gaming will be able to garner themselves. And as Three Kings take themselves a 2-0 lead here inside of this control, it once again is showing signs of just being a one-sided affair between these two teams, where Three Kings is just the better of the two.
Yeah, I mean, if D1 do not walk away with this defense, they will be 3-0'd here in convincing fashion, I would say, for sure. The Three Kings are just playing with a certain amount of ante that D1 are just simply unable to answer with. I mean, Thresh 3-11 on a map like Gavutu, where you're hoping for your ARs to truly be online, it's just not going to be good enough, is it? Three Kings on another offense, you're able to win the previous off kills alone. This comes down to D1. Utilize these sacks. Utilize everything that you have in your arsenal to be able to get these kills early on and deny Three Kings any map positioning.
Should know where Kaiser is in towards the middle of the flag gun, but his Thresh now makes the flank all the way back through and behind. Will win the gunfight with a pistol on the Mind. Snaps to the second, almost takes out Kaiser, but Kaiser will walk away with a kill to keep his streak alive at 3 in a row. Cryptic at the top of the LST ship will be on 4, looking for Drakes inside of top green. They're looking to push everybody from the side of D1 Gaming back into their spawn. 2 life advantage. Progress now started at that A zone, trying to get that first bit of progress, and of course start to work their way up the map after the fact.
Okay, so there you go. A convincing kill feed. Yeah, work your way up the map. Try to cut off the reinforcements for Three Kings. You got the game clock under 45 seconds. You know, that's gonna force Three Kings' hand to be able to flush out these kills. And oh boy, howdy does Kaiser got his tackle box on, because he finds himself a nice little 2. That'll open up the A zone considerably. And Yuli also fishes out the flanking member. That's gonna be Rooper over by the beachfront. So now bad positioning back in favor of Three Kings with a 3 life lead, and they stall out the clock. That first segment absolutely be there. And D1 might just have to chalk all of the A zone, because they're losing lives trying to get themselves back into a position to even try to contest it.
Losing a lot of lives, but even trying to get back over towards B to get the player that's on that site off, or you're still losing lives. Kaiser, once again, on streaks, 19-8 here in this in control. And I thought maybe, just maybe for a second, he was going to be able to get number 6 to work his way towards streaks into top 3rd. Full control of the top bow, 10 life advantage. Now going to be able to get that last bit of progress over towards A. They've completely given up the bottom of the LST ship. Yuli has played by himself over on the beach. He now has reinforcements. Glide bomb going to come in over the top. You're going to be able to find Aaron as well. B point. Now you can start to stack this if you want to. Thresh going to be there. Yuli wins the one-on-one. A one-man army while Kaiser looks for double digits across the map. 2 ticks of progress at this B zone. Kaiser in the middle looks for the cross all the way back over towards the site. And now as he's able to go ahead and help with the rest of the teammates, he's almost able to snap for number 10. But a 21-7 advantage. They're tripled up on lives at the moment. They're looking for that final bit of progress. And guess who's there yet again? It's Cryptic looking for Yuli to get back on towards the point.
Oh, he's going to find it. Rupert for the trade, but now you can just play this as a glorified TDM. You don't even need to be able to step on the zone. You just need to be able to fish out 5 more kills. And with D1 Gaming, they're trying their best to be able to claw their way back, but almost an SND situation versus the relentless assault that's about to be Three Kings 4v16. You need these kills to come all the way through, and isolating yourself across the dock side is not the way to do it.
All 3 players all surrounded over by the flat gun. You can kind of sniff it out here if you are Three Kings. Rupert might be able to find one. Right now, it's just trying to stall out as much time as humanly possible. Kills are going to come in. Glide bomb trying to be earned here from Rupert. 1 versus 13. 45 seconds left. 1 tick of progress is all you need over on the site. You're able to find the gunfight there, though. 40 seconds left. Glide bomb going to come in. You have to find the player that's going to be close to you. Everybody's willing to get inside. You might be able to double up a couple of players here, but you kill yourself with the glide bomb. You can't do that. Shades of slack. 3-0 for 3 Kings here, and not only in the series, but in the control as well. That was actually more of an entertaining control than I thought it would be in a blowout fashion.
It really was. I mean, look, D1 just were constantly putting themselves there. They were always just so close to being there. Rupert was putting in the business throughout the entirety of that control. It just was a little bit of an overextension. Not winning that one gunfight, not being able to find that 2-piece, meant that you had players just like Kaiser in pushed up positioning to be able to find themselves multi-kill after multi-kill, even after that A-zone and that final offense came through. Kaiser went on, what was it, like a 9 spree or something, just absurd?
Yeah.
On the front side of green, he wasn't even in the spawns for D1 Gaming, and he was just catching players, just cutting back through the second cut outside of P3, trying to work their way back inside of that B zone. And it's just one of those things, again, that 3 Kings need, or that D1, excuse me, need to be more aware of going forward, is that when you have ARs in those positionings, you really need to invest the time and ability to be able to get them out from those positionings. From there on out, then you can take further positioning away from the enemy team. It just felt like that 3 Kings were playing the finesse game just a little bit too well, and just getting D1 just in these crossfires continuously throughout the entirety of this control. And the same could be said for that Bocage Search and Destroy. Both flawless. 3 Kings do not allow a roundup for both the Search and Destroy and the control, as they look pretty darn good throughout the entirety of it. 24 and 11 for Kaiser, about 2,600 damage. Just behind them, Cryptic 20 and 14 with about 2,500.
You know, Andy, the thing was, we talked about this before break too. 3 Kings was sitting there, actually 1 versus 3 here. We'll come back to that thought in just a moment. Well, they're going to be able to find the first one, be able to go there for the bomb, but might be able to go ahead and plant this. Diamond Con's going to be forced to rotate back on over. You're going to go ahead for the one-on-one gunfight versus Cryptic. You won't be able to win it. But what I was going to say for the side of 3 Kings there, Andy, is the fact that, we talked about their hardest schedule, or rather the hardest part of the schedule is over. They played whatever it takes in Ultra NA. At least, in theory, it should be the hardest part of your schedule. And those were the top 2 teams coming into this tournament. Now you play a game or a team like D1. Sure, you have the O2 stat line, but you had to play, your hardest. You're front loaded in your schedule. So really, it should be easy pickings here on out. 3 Kings look damn good inside of that game.
Yeah, they do. But you almost have to assume that they could be another playoff team going forward. 7-5 looking like they could be a playoff team, though. 3-round lead. It's just classic, instigating that first blood on a 4 spree. But it's being rewrapped around, and Diamond Con reads it. Has himself a 4 spree of his own. Young man Connor putting on a clinic here in the Search and Destroy.
Well, he has just been put in some really bad positions over these first couple of maps. Tries to go for the shots there under Pristini. Gives away his location. They know exactly where he is. Almost is able to win the long-range gunfight with the pistol. I say almost like I knew what his HP was across the map. But 5-1 now here inside of the Search and Destroy. This has been a 7-5 roster that, after that first map loss, they have not looked back.
No, they haven't. And keep in mind, you on that Bocage Search and Destroy, they dissected Electrify Steel. As far as those first rounds were concerned, they allowed those next 4 to come through, yeah, but then the next 2 adapting to the tendencies of their enemies has been at an all-time high. Again, it's classic Diamond Con royalty that have absolutely stepped up to the plate. Pristini has also been finding a lot of first bloods on the day, though it really seems like a map like Desert Siege, it would suggest, yeah, DC has been absolutely living it up along with Classic with that SMG roll in the middle.
Couple players out over towards that A site. Iron Blood will go ahead and put that bomb down. 7-5. To play a short retake here in a 4 versus 4. 35 seconds left. You got to start making your moves here, though. You do not want to have to leave this up to about 10 seconds or less. Start to make your way forward. Still going to be flying all the way through the back line, waiting for players to make their way on through. Noisy, Welly, pair for 2. It's a 1-5 lead here for the set of 7-5. Unfortunately, though, a 3 versus 2 advantage in lives for Iron Blood Gaming. You start to make your way in towards the university building. Right now, in a 1 versus 3, you just have no time to do anything here if you are royalty. Good round there from Iron Blood Gaming. They're going to get their second round on the board. They're 1 step closer to making the comeback here inside of the S&D.
Yeah, just no time. Just quick plants coming through across the A lane. And when you end up having a player like Noisy that gets just commanding presence inside a university of what you saw there on the balcony, it's just so hard to be able to retake that. But to recontest over towards the little cliff area, over towards the defensive tower, if you will. It just already being looked at by ARs such as Welly as well. So Able to stop the bleeding ever so slightly, but you're still 3 rounds in the gutter if you are Iron Blood, and 705 are very much so still up on map point. Could be an offensive round. Nope, didn't get those streaks that Royalty, DC, and Classic were building themselves closer towards, but just do it with the gun skill. They already have a commanding presence across this A lane. They lose first blood.
Slowly but surely, it's rounds like these that are allowing the side of Iron Blood Gaming have a comeback, at least in their clutches. Sniper shot across the map, going to be whiffed. 3 versus 3. Seed looks for 1. Won't be able to find anything just yet. Another blood for the side of Iron Blood Gaming is going to give them the advantage here inside of this Desert Siege S&D yet again. 2 versus 2, 50 seconds left. Bomb over by the A site.
Diamondcon's just going to watch all of this, so nobody's watching the flank. Classic needs to commit their time to be able to pick up this bomb, and this could be devastating. Are 705 going to be able to realize that the flank is the place where these last 2 players of Assault Willie are coming from?
We're going to check him eventually. Diamondcon will be ready for assault there. He's first on the flank. Classic going to get spotted inside the university building, so somebody could go for the defuse here if they wanted to. They know where Classic might be just coming from, but he gets back in towards the bottom. Trying to make the flank play. Well, he might get some good timing here. Classic going to be able to spot him out, though. Shot's going to be there. Won't be able to walk away with a kill, but he does get it there. But Assault from behind will be able to find the trade. 2 straight rounds here from Iron Blood Gaming. Going to get them 1 step closer yet again. Trying to make their comeback here in the S&D.
Yeah, I mean, what a phenomenal comeback it would truly be. I mean, when you're looking at that from 705's perspective, being able to at least mitigate the numbers advantage that Iron Blood were able to have for themselves. Really going to look towards Classic, who got proactive through the middle of the map inside University, was able to find that kill on top of the tower, and was able to at least get themselves middle of the map control. I mean, Diamondcon was watching that A lane for such a long time that you really did feel like that they were going to have to turn around eventually to almost read the flank, just a little bit too late. Luckily enough, you have Classic maybe try to pick things up. It just was not quick enough. Just a little bit too hesitant on where these last 2 players are coming from. Assault commits towards the flank, but offense needs to be just as clean. Set nades over the top. Classic playing a very forward position here on the A-bomb.
Oh, Noisy walks away. Slides around the corner with the MP40. Somehow walks away with a gunfight. Welly all the way back. Royalty starting to make his way up towards that B site. He's actually going to spot. Great timing on there on Exceed, but doesn't realize that there's another one all the way back over towards the spawn. But Welly might get some unfortunate timing here. Royalty around the corner. Welly, 1-on-1 gunfight win. Pristini, 2 versus 2 now. Diamondcon versus Welly and Assault. I'm going to go down. Welly the last alive in a 1 versus 2. 50 seconds to work with. Location is now known. Sure, it's going to be there. Unfortunate trade comes through. Yeah, it's so difficult, Andy, to string together those rounds to be able to come back in a map like that. 705 will extend their map lead to a 2-0 margin.
Yeah, and again, it just comes down to, instead of 705 just aggressively hitting towards the middle of the map and across these lanes, they recognize, look, through our past 2 rounds, that has not worked out. Iron Blood have finally started stunning us, slowing us up, and has been able to find those gunfights by way of their ARs. So you just kind of back yourself up to that point, and you recognize, look, you want to try to play that pace. You don't want you're finally dealing with our aggression at 705. Yeah. So they'll play just as patient as ever as well, and especially on the defensive round, that'll just pander to everything that they do require to be able to find those first bloods, being able to stop the offensive push from coming all the way through, and to be able to win out that search and destroy 6-3.
Dude, I don't know what it is. Like, again, like, I really thought that, like, Respawn was going to be, like, the difference maker for the 705 roster when we started watching them earlier on. And, like, that Berlin, like, gave me a really sour taste in my mouth. But after that, like, the S&D, I was like, okay, they're starting to make the comeback. I'm not sure how they're going to fare in the control and the hard point. And then they just spanked it to them, being Electrify Steel, that is, in the rest of that series. Here against Iron Blood, even in the S&D, where they've looked really, really good. You use the word dissection beforehand. They did the same thing here against Iron Blood. And just to really hit that home, S&D was kind of the map and mode, or rather the mode that they were winning the majority of coming into today. And then you pair that with the respawn ability that they have. I mean, sure, they haven't played them just yet, and there's a lot of things that are going to be taken into consideration yet. But 705, they could be coming up and towards being that top 4 team. And well, if they're able to take this series here, they put themselves in a damn good spot in order to do so.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely going to be the case. I mean, 705, if they can win this convincingly versus Iron Blood, look, that is an emphatic statement within its own self, especially coming away from 705 from Toronto, from their top, 12 placing, where they ended up losing out to Electrify Steel. Black at the time, that's actually the team that we just saw on the opposite side of our broadcast, and then losing to Ultra Academy North America. So they are losing the top teams, and also here online, comparatively to what their placing was at the end of Season 3 of the Elite, was not as good as what we are seeing here from them now. You can see that everything's starting to click together, the teamwork, the cohesion, everything else in between is at an all-time high. The stocks for these 4 players on 705 Esports, I'm sure at this moment in time, cannot be any higher, especially with the rest of the season looming in the air and with Boston later on down the line.
Yeah, well, Ironblood right now, they took their first loss against Toronto NA just a little bit ago. This would be their second loss on the day, and they'd find themselves in a 2-2 split going towards the rest of the season. We're going to step aside, take a break. When we come back, we're going to find ourselves in map number 3 in control. We're at 705 Esports. They'll try to close out a 3-0 series sweep and take themselves to a 3-1 record on the season. My name is McCormick with Be Proper. We'll be back in a minute. Map number 3, 705 Esports has looked dominant inside of this best of 5 series. Ironblood Gaming, this is where they need to make the stance. The reverse sweep has to start here if they want to go ahead and resurrect themselves in this series against a 705. But Andy, as we've seen all the way through, well, Respawns and S&D alike have not been close whatsoever. So, my name is McCormick. With me is Proper. It has been a fun series thus far if you're a 705 Esports fan. If you're an Ironblood Gaming fan, I cannot say the same for you.
No, we're just showing you Tuscan. It's not the map we're actually going to. We're going to Berlin. Get destroyed,
NA Prod
viewers
Bull.
at home. Yep, NA Prod, got him. Gonna be Berlin Control, and well, both these teams have actually not played this so far within this season. Really just gonna be looking for a continuous amount of influence of what we saw from 705 within that map number 1. A lot of antics coming through from Cini, DiamondCon, Royalty, Classic, all able to really get it done, but as far as his opening offensive attempt is concerned, a tick and a half, now looking towards that second. As far as the offense is concerned, Ironblood are going to be able to have it.
Royalty of the staircase. Assault will help out Welly. Be able to find that player. B-zone still getting captured. Release is going to be left like that for just a moment. They're actually trying to collapse around this point, and I actually love this play. You give it up so you can put all your assets and all your focus over towards this A zone, because you only get a few attempts per round, if ever, to go ahead and capture this point. And as Assault slides out the staircase, he's going to be able to find one. You're in the zone. Trade's now trying to come on through. Assault will fall. Now you're on the hands of Noisy, who's going to get just absolutely swarmed by every single player on 705. Again, if that doesn't show you the importance of being able to hold A on the defensive side, I don't know what does. You send and allocate all your resources there, but you get an extra minute on the clock here if you are Iron Blood, as you go ahead and capture that B zone with a 2 life advantage. Now make it 4, all in your favor.
Yeah, these rotational gunfights need to be here, though, for 705, because they lost a considerable amount when that B zone escapade was starting to come through for Iron Blood, but 705 finally able to get themselves at least some semblance of control. They're still down by 3 lives. They're putting a lot in towards the middle of the map, and Classic is actually going to get timing. He doesn't know that 2 players have already worked their way inside of 3.
Is he going to try and get some shots on the Classic? At least spot that player out, but gives himself up in the process. Assault also gets himself revealed. He's flanked all the way back through the lines. DiamondCon is able to find one. Noisy, the technical trade there on the Classic. 2 versus 3 at the site at the moment. Not going to be the first one in. Shots on the Royalty. Going to be good. DiamondCon now looking to try and slide on back all the way through to the point. Pristini there as well. 2 good kills for the side of the Ironblood. Now it's a 2 versus 2 back on the point. I thought maybe Adam is able to take DiamondCon's head off there for just a moment. But as soon as the hype got there, falls back down to a low minimum. 1 tick of progress. Still a minute and 15 seconds to work. 12 lives remaining on the defensive team.
Able to continue to shave off this clock, but that one segment coming through is still massive. Noisy is in towards the back again. It aids these flanks. 705 need to be wary about Noisy kind of setting himself up for the jump. Had a little bit of assistance there through the wire fencing. Did Classic to be able to get that gunfight win versus Noisy. That'll keep things even for the time being, but again, got another player for Ironblood that's back here. Exceed fishes out the timing this time around. EC will be there to read it and gets a big kill onto it, but the 3 more kills that come through from the front, just that much better until Classic mitigates it. What a big 3 coming through from them. Able to keep Ironblood's offensive attempts epic.
Reed Classic on the flank allows him to open the door wide open and now make the push all the way into the spawn side of Ironblood. What looked like it could have been an offensive round win, now slowly starting to turn back to the defensive side. 9 and 5 here from Classic throughout the first round. Was he going to be able to spot the player on the staircase? Force Classic all the way to the back off. Exceed's going to come around the corner and a beautiful timing kill there. Make the pinch, 20 seconds left. DiamondCon all the way back. Assault gets him weak. Now he's going to be forced to back off. A beautiful nade from Exceed. Okay, this opens the door wide open because now as Noisy starts to push up, Pristini's not going to read Noisy come from the left side staircase. Now all of a sudden it's a 1 versus 7. All the kills come in and it's not going to matter because they want to go ahead and progress this. They don't want to get that final kill on DiamondCon. They want to make sure that they can progress that as far as humanly possible. And I actually don't like the kill coming in through the middle of the map there because if you win that offensive round while getting all 3 ticks of progress on each zone, it's going to set you up way better if you do go to a round 5.
Oh, it absolutely will, right? I mean, but, you know, whatever it takes, truly, no pun intended, to the team, you know, to be able to win an offensive round. Sure. But, you know, if that kill doesn't end up coming through, there's still always that likelihood, I suppose. But, yeah, segment progression is what you're going to be looking at continuously for your round 5 attempts. A lot of offensive round wins ever since Berlin Control has really come around, and in this season specifically. And I don't just mean that for North America. I've seen a lot of it on Europe as well. 705 for an offense, going to be taking a working focus over towards that B zone. So a lot of work cut out for players like Exceed. Is that lone player Noisy going to have to come over here and try to help things out after the teammate got traded?
It's kind of crazy too, because like we think about the offensive round wins, like even last year in Cold War, like they were not like far and few between. Like they were like pretty much not every map, but you know you would get a lot of offensive round wins here and there. We got such a dry spell with Tuscan and Kvutu for so long that like Berlin came into the meta and it was like this breath of fresh air that everybody loved. And I mean it's panned out pretty well thus far. But a 2 life advantage for the side of Ironblood. On the defensive side, looking to get back over towards that B zone. Clock stalled now. A 705 are inside of the point. Royalty falls. DiamondCon's able to find 1. 2 trades go back and forth for one another. It's a 2-to-1 trade now for the side of 705 as you're still in towards the point. Red kill feed. Nobody else really from Ironblood trying to contest this point. But Eddie, you just gotta be worried about player number 1 and Noisy. Just trying to set up a spawn trap. Wait for everybody to start getting cut down by the team. Back over towards B1.
You need those kills to come through, but I mean, if you are Noisy, you're in here for a multitude of positionings. You're going to force all of 705 to spawn very top right side of the mini-map, but Noisy
Stupid.
getting under a lot of pressure. DC will cut him down from range of the MP40, no less. Those kills come through, but Welly's also done a big enough job at least finding one kill over towards the B zone. Now, 705 still have numbers. They're going to take that Virtue over towards the A zone. Well, that's the most awkward boxing engagement I've ever seen in my life. Classic gets the better of Assault, but that'll at least keep the map neutral for the time being, even though 7-5 are fighting themselves a handful of gunfights.
He's got a stack right now. Because if you see Royalty, he's all the way pushed up inside of Fire and in towards P3, so he's just cutting everybody down that's trying to get back over towards A. You've stacked this perfectly. You've already got 2 ticks of progress here over towards A, and now all you have to do is you just have to wait for number 1 and Noisy to try and make this flank and all the way come through. Diamondcon reads it out perfectly. A zone captured. Now it's already a tick of progress that you just need over towards B. The Nate life advantage, you're looking poised. Good. Get ready for an offensive round win here if you're 705.
Oh, man, and you also got one kill in the back. Brasini is able to find Noisy. He's going to spawn up right next to him. So, I mean, Brasini's going to be in a great position if they can get the timing to be able to deal with these players in towards the back. And Willie gets gunned off screen looking at it as well. That'll keep the numbers dwindled inside the B zone for the time being. But you still got Noisy as well as Exceed, the SMG lineup here for Ironblood, trying to keep this one tick at bay here on the B zone.
Can't get pieced. That's the one thing you cannot afford right now if you're Ironblood. You have to have every kill traded out or at least go for doubles in towards this point. Brasini out towards the dockside. We'll find one. Seat on the staircase. You're just trying to contest this, make it as annoying as possible here for the side of Ironblood. And as I say, you can't get pieced. Diamondcon will find 2. Royalty will find the last one, and that will do it here for the round. 705 Esports will respond with an offensive round of their own, tying things up here at 1 apiece on Berlin.
And they did it by way of segment progression as well, Alex. It's got to be talked about that although we win offense for offense, 705 able to do it off of segment progression alone. So with that one extra segment, just how, depending the rounds play out for themselves, 705 do have the lead for that round 5 affair to be on defense first and foremost. But I don't even know if you want it, considering how we have seen the offensive escapades so far. But 705 did a great job continuously through that offense, just finding themselves some kills, making sure there was always at least one player in towards the back, whether it was Diamondcon, Classic, or Pristini. Really felt like there was always someone in the spawn of Ironblood, just making sure that those numbers were never fully stacked to where a 4-player roster should be. 3 players off the offensive now here for Ironblood inside of B. Big work for Welly to be able to keep that trade alley pushed at bay.
Surprised that Diamondcon walks away with that gunfight there. Surely thought he was going to die. He slides in towards the building, checks the right side corner, unfortunately just guesses the wrong corner. Be punished for it. 2 ticks of progress now for the side of Ironblood. Noisy will hop out and towards the top of P5, be able to walk away with a kill, and I'll start his push back over towards P1. Unfortunately, though, never mind. I thought off-screen engagement Royalty was going to win that with timing, but Noisy was able to take it. So now you look to the back lines. What does Assault do here? Is able to find the first there on the Royalty. You're in towards that A zone right now. 1 versus 2 on the point at the moment. And as Noisy will fall to the hands of Diamondcon, you look for the push and the wrap back now. Assault, kill on the Classic. You hop down outside of Fire. You still got to win the gunfights in towards the point. You know where play number 7 in Diamondcon is. You want to either play for the kill or stack and just hope that he comes to a preem in one of the windows.
You also can commit Welly to that train alley push. Brasini comes in through secret, finds the trade, but the trades are even better coming through for Ironblood. Royalty needs to go big. Inside of the zone itself has some help with Classic. As they try to fish out at least the timing coming back out from the train alley, Royalty will help out Classic, clear away the train alley. Allow that 1 tick of progress to come through on the A zone. And although that might be a good thing, Ironblood are looking even better. They do at least have 2 minutes to try to get out from their spawn and get closer towards this A zone.
Gotta get those last ticks, but I mean, getting out of your spawn is just going to be a process within itself. You have 2 players looking all the way over and across. Classic's going to pepper up Noisy, force him in towards P2, make him halt the play that he wanted. And although Pristini does get cut down, Willie and Noisy are going to pair for a couple of kills. It's going to put them at a 2 life advantage as they start to keep pushing over towards the dock side. You know, the Classic's going to sit inside of Fire, maybe wait for the wrap all the way through the spawn side, but you still have Royalty who's just being a nuisance all the way in the spawn side of Ironblood Gaming. Sure, you're going to get stunned out. He's at 2 HP, but he's still surviving back here, and they have to clear him out, which is wasting tons of time on the clock. While Welly's also across the map, though, trying to find himself some timing inside of P1.
Yeah, but again, that's a trust that you're going to be able to deal with the players that are up front inside training. Even when Noisy tries to find himself that opening engagement, he loses to Pristini. These kills need to be here. Otherwise, Welly's position doesn't even matter. His Classic deals with him from behind. This A hold so far for 705, absolutely abominable. Finally, Exceed is able to find Pristini. That's inside of the mid-map scoop, but just as soon as you find the one, Royalty finds another 2 outside of the train alley. Make that number 3 off-screen Royalty a problem. Now just under 1 minute. Got even a glide bomb coming all the way in. And that is just so devastating. 705 not allowing Ironblood to even get a single look out of their spawn.
Diamond will call it in. Will fall from the skies, be able to find a kill with it. 10 versus 9, 30 seconds left. Only one tick of progress here over towards A. Andy, how poetic would it be if they didn't go ahead and find that last cap in that first offensive round, if that came back to bite them later on? It's still going to be a one life advantage, though, for now Ironblood. You try to snap around the corner, you're able to find it. Okay, that's 3 kills. Once again, you're able to move on in, but Assault is going to be there. Everybody else as well. That's going to be 14 seconds, spot him back across the map. What was looking like a solid hit there, unfortunately, falls apart as the respawn's coming off the respawn block.
Yeah, I mean, every single time that Ironblood had themselves a good look to maybe get inside the A zone, hell, even when they were on the A zone, and they had themselves some semblance of numbers, there's always just that one player, 705, that finds themselves that one double kill, that one triple kill, get themselves back into control of that A zone. And there were those constant, just 25-second stretches that Ironblood were just struggling to get out from their spawn. They always found at least one player, Alex, that could either get through the dubsteps, get up closer towards P3, all flanking over by Crane. And then 705 always put themselves in a further position to be able to deal with those other players that were trying to be the reinforcements, the cavalry. And that one player that found maybe one kill further towards the spawn of the defense.
Royalty on 5 in a row. Bottom of the A zone, now being progressed. Noisy will snap onto Royalty as he hops through the doorway. Oh, he gets number 3 as well. It's only a matter of time before Noisy pops off in the series. Makes his move here. Will it be enough to force a round 5 and maybe keep the series going? Persini down below. Noisy, AR in hand now. We'll be able to go ahead and find number 4. Look out to the dock side, 705. They want to clear this player out, but he gets great timing either way. Once again on to Pristini. Player down and towards the bottom of the B. Not progressing the site just yet. Playing in the corner, waiting for Noisy to maybe get aggressive back over towards this site. Pristini up the respawn block, now trying to make it a 2 versus 1 and towards the bottom of P2. And as he slides around the corner once again, the hip fire shots will connect and Noisy stays alive for 6.
He's being chased. Classic is trying to find this trade, but Noise is going to take their virtues just up top third of male. He's going to try to find this kill number 7, but Classic comes up through the stairs. No streaks for Tyler Noisy. It was an emphatic 6-3 that really just gave themselves a lot of opportunity to be able to keep 705 at bay, but it just was not enough. Segments of progression working its way halfway through the second, 26 seconds remaining, and Ironblood have themselves what was a 7-life lead, but every single time Ironblood have themselves an advantage, 705, they snuff it out, and they bring it right back into their favor. That third segment is definitely going to come through.
Thanks to big pop-up moments between Classic, Diamondcon, and Royalty. Pristini's had a few here and there, but really Diamondcon has been a huge factor of being able to find maybe those first 1 or 2 kills, and then Classic and Royalty are either there to finish things up or just making an incredible 1v play, specifically over at the B site, the A site, which we've seen multiple times already here throughout the control. Pistol shot's not going to be there for Welly. Pristini and Royalty going to pair for 2 quick kills. 3 life advantage now for the side of Ironblood. With a minute left, 705 have to get across the map and capture the safe zone.
On the flank, it's all essentially going to be done from the front unless Royalty can get back here. And see, that's exactly what 705 are waiting for. Maybe Matt's trying to find themselves the timing. Maybe the trust has to be there. They find a couple kills from the front, and Royalty can maybe find a couple spawn kills, but the former does not happen. Now Ironblood are able to push all the way through. That's going to force them to spawn on the backside of the warehouse. They know that they have to try to commit towards his B lane and try to join Royalty, but just as soon as I speak his name, he gets gunned down. So nobody pushed up here first. 705, and this is going to be their last possible attempt. They're stretched very far across the map.
All they need to do is capture 1 tick of progress here over towards the safe zone. That will give them the defense for the final round, but they've only got 15 seconds to work. You know that Welly's up and towards the top. He will escape with his life. Assault's going to be there as well. Classic slides around the left side corner, turns back around, almost able to snap onto Assault. The trade's going to be there, though, from Pristini. 3 kills now going the way of 705. Again, all you need is 1 tick of progress to give yourselves the defensive final round, and they're going to be able to do it there. Kill's going to come through. Why not outright win it? Royalty in another double. So poetic. 2 ticks of progress now. You look for the last couple of players. Now coming off the respawn block here for the side of Ironblood. Welly gets one with a nade. Welly through the wall also finds one. Pristini is there for 2. Pristini trying to go big with Classic. 1 versus 1 can't get it done. Still one more player here towards the point. Royalty, Noisy, a 1 versus 1 to potentially seal this series away. And as he lays down in behind it, there still can be respawns that are coming off. He stalls it out in just enough time to give them 1 final attempt to get back in towards this point. Classic on the staircase. Hecklet's not going to be able to win the first one. Exceed going to be there. Noisy tries to slide on through, and will Ironblood somehow survive the round there to force a round number 5, but it will be 705 with a defense here on control.
It's going to be an offensive round. You're absolutely right, Alex. 705. I mean, they give themselves a real good look at closing it out just right there on the offense, didn't they? Just, again, Ironblood, thanks to really Welly and their heroics. 30 and 21 for Sam. putting themselves in a position to be able to find those 2 kills, wall bangs included, through office, desks, and every other fixture in between. But again, the problem still arises. We have to see an offensive round win from one of these teams for round number 5. It will be Iron Blood for it. They were able to win the opening round just off of kills alone, but the opening gunfights will at least be traded out. But no real final resilience to come through after that first blood engagement came through. And Iron Blood should be more than aware. Okay, there's no more push coming through from the front. We got control of Noisy over by the statue. 7 to 5 are all over P4.
City has made a great play to get all the way back and through behind. Exceed now pushing all the way through over towards A. Little does he know, though. Maybe Diamondcon who's there, but he wraps at maybe the worst moment possible. This gives Exceed the opportunity to maybe make the play here, as he's going to flank all the way around. Classic's not going to read this out. He might try to go for the kill here. He's going to spot him and go for the kill. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to find it. Gives away his position, so it could have been an early opportunity to get back over towards this A site, but at least he'll get Diamondcon there. That might be the luckiest set of circumstances. Maybe not lucky, but kind of lucky at the same time. Set of circumstances I've seen, because I would not have gone for that aggressive challenger. You just want to try and get in that zone.
Well, I mean, he had help from Noisy, and he's also communicating this to Assault, who cleans up one end towards the back, so hold on a second. The only player that's going to be able to stop this is Proceeding in the back. Assault finds him, so now you're going to have this 2-player stack inside the A zone, and now if you're 7-5, you got to start reeling. You got to fly in towards one of these zones. The stack is through, the nades are not connecting, and nobody from 7-5 can get inside the zone. Nobody can buy a kill. Iron Blood Gaming, just by a string of series of events, we're able to win that round 5 lickety split and extend the at least the series to a map number 4.
Bro. Bro, okay, so, like, realistically speaking, I don't know how they lost that round. They should not. They had a great setup. They literally let Exceed like flank all the way through. He was able to pick up that kill on the Diamond. If Diamondcon doesn't lose that gunfight there as he drops down in from A, they do not win that round, because that was the only pick that they needed. They get the player off the back and they're just able to fly up to the train side. They get in the point. I mean, 7-5. They kind of just shot themselves in the foot there a bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, they really did. Again, because they're constantly having players just rotate through P5, trying to get in through that mid little cut that leads into the mail from train station. And although that's okay, you know, you put 3 players in that position, you lose those 3 players very quickly.
Yep.
What opens up more often than not, you're gonna spawn essentially in as I guess the favorite side for Berlin, Hardpoint, on that opposite side of P3. So you're going to be spawning pretty far out. What that opens up more often than not, if you don't have a player immediately inside top third of fire,
yep,
to watch those players cut through the middle of the map through statue to get into the dubsteps in from the front side of office, you're just going to constantly be berated with it with so much pressure that all of the faith needs to be there, that your flanking members are constantly going to be able to find those kills. And you even saw just right there immediately, who was it immediately? It was Exceed that was able to read that there was one player in from behind. Doesn't stay in the gunfight, stays alive, pushes in through the back alleyway, going with at least one more teammate. That was Noisy, that was over there along with Exceed. And then just communicates it to Assault. Look, there's one inside the tower. He could find some timing coming from the back. Assault finds that first one. Welly picks up the second on a Proceeding. And now it's all just the focus on towards the front. Make sure that you have one player watching that flank, because you know that if you stack that zone, all of 705 have to one-dimensionally just fly through the upper courtyard.
And it's crazy, too, because, like, when I'm watching that play unfold, I'm like, okay, you know, Diamondcon should be able to read this flank out, and it would have been nice, because, you know, you're okay with letting that B zone go there. You spawn a couple players on the cross, you know that they're going to be spawning deep left, that you just mentioned beforehand, and so, you know, if you're Diamondcon, you say, okay, well, you know, one player's probably going to be flanking all the way through. We haven't seen Exceed in a minute, and if as long as they're going for the B zone and they're not coming to A, that's going to be fine, but you have to break out eventually, and what better way to do it is when everybody else is distracted. Your main job there as Diamondcon was just to watch the flank, and then you gave it up. I just question the play there. It's one of those situations where it's like, I feel like you just got to trust your teammates. You have somebody pushed all the way up to the tower, you know they're going to spawn over by the docks.
I think it's just one of those things again where, like, if you are 7-5, you truly did feel like you had that bad boy won to a certain point, that maybe you got a little complacent there just off of your placings alone across the entirety of the map, that you have that one extra player overextend in towards the back to be able to find a couple of spawn kills, because to be fair, a lot of those kills in early engagements were so handily in the favor for this Iron Blood Gaming squad that you didn't want to give up too much. So that's where communication and a little bit of desperation can come through off the respawn, where you're not really talking. You're just talking about how you just lost those early gunfights. But
yeah,
all excuses aside, Iron Blood are just keeping their heads just barely above water here. You can see this best of 5 series. Map number 1, map number 2 were not a close affair by any stretch of the imagination. You had the 100-point club there on the Berlin Hardpoint, the 3-round win there for the Bocage Search and Destroy, where 705 just were seemingly doing everything right. Really felt like it was going to be there for a quick 3-0 with how they were winning out those rounds on the Berlin Control. But Tuscan Hardpoint is going to be up next. And for 705, again, one of those things that we've talked about for this team, or I'm sorry, I believe that it should be a Kabuto Hardpoint. I think that our best of 5 series might be a little bit backwards. Regardless of the matter, I think that what you're looking at for the 705 esports rosters, that they're constantly being able to, they're outpacing Iron Blood. They are not necessarily being met with that certain amount of X Factor resilience that we have seen from Noisy and Exceed in the past. Again, not the most lackluster performances, but wasn't as, I guess, emphatic as what we've been seeing from Royalty and Classic, at least in this best of 5 series. Really looking towards the AR, so most importantly, the flex AR of Welly to be able to pick up that slack, what we did see in that Berlin Control, to be able to find those extra few kills, to be able to open up certain lanes, to be able to turn into more hardpoint time, because what we saw being exemplified on the Tuscan Hardpoint just was not it. It's something that needs to be changed here for this Iron Blood gaming coming into the Kabuto.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the big thing comes into the fact of, okay, if you're Iron Blood, yeah, great. You've got some, you won that last map, and that's all fine, well, and dandy. Of course, you want to have that reverse sweep, but again, you're still looking at a deficit to where you could go 2v2 here on the night. And so when you come into this hard point, you got absolutely spanked on map number 1. 705 put it to you. They did it for the first 2 maps. They're in the control. There was a few good rounds and a few good plays that came out of it, but you're going back to another hard point where 705 just looks really composed. And sure, they might not have showed that on the Berlin hardpoint when we started off the series against the side of Electrify Steel, but they have well and true come through in the respawn and showed they're not to be trifled with. And if we go to a map number 4 here on Kabuto, look, Andy, the thing is 705, yes, their aggression does rely on heavy SMG pressure. Yes, it does require those SMGs to get far advanced up the map to be able to start breaking different things. But if you are allowing your subs to run free while your ARs are just spraying out over the top, 705 is going to be able to win this map pretty handily, at least in my mind, just purely off of the fact that, Royalty and Classic, you let them go, they'll run free.
Yeah, I mean, it's disastrous. Over the past few weekends, talking with a lot of other colleagues as well, you included, it's something that we've always talked about, that a rogue SMG on a map like Kabuto Hardpoint can absolutely enforce a lot of these rotations, because it really does buy a lot of respect that you are passively waiting for like the 30-second market before you are actually okay, at least you feel enough okay to be able to break inside a hardpoint fully, that if an SMG is just constantly buying themselves so much pressure, so much time and space, that the ARs are just set up inside the hardpoint for free. So, the job's already well done by that point as well. If you get all the stuns and nades out from the opposing team that's trying to break those hardpoints, that could absolutely be there when you're thinking about the setup that will be this team coming in towards this map number 4, specifically for 705 Esports. That Classic has been having themselves a much better day 2 here in round robin comparatively to where they were at yesterday. As far as round robin is concerned, the 705 roster, again, losing to DTO yesterday. This was at least one of the maps they were able to take. They won both the hardpoints yesterday on Kabuto Hardpoint. They won by a whole 10, and that was really all thanks to players like DiamondCon and Royalty being able to rely on a lot of their, I guess, known antics. They've been a duo for so long through a lot of different Call of Duty, dating all the way back to that Triumph roster that was your NA Challengers champs back in Modern Warfare 2019. With the likes of Standy, even, to be able to find a lot of good openings, to be able to have players like Persini and Classic to go rogue across the majority of the map. It garnered them a lot of time late when DTO had themselves quite an emphatic lead early on in the final set.
Well, as we get ready for map number 4 here, you mentioned DTO. If you are wondering why Destroy the Odds matches were not going on tonight, there was a bit of a weather advisory that did allow them to reschedule their matches, or force them to reschedule their matches, I should say. So we hope everything is good on that front, but we will not be seeing their matches here on tonight. Royalty DiamondCon, though, will open things up right off the rip. It was a first blood from Noisy, but ever since that point, it has been all the side of 705. Just as I say that, though, of course, Iron Blood is right back on in towards P1. DiamondCon trying to make some noise here while he waits for the rest of the reinforcements to get back towards the point.
Still a lot of time to be battling over, so Classic overextends themselves, thinking that they were going to have some help from DiamondCon, who has control of the beachfront, but just as soon as you like any sort of pinch antics that 705 could be setting themselves up from, Iron Blood are just finding all of the gunfights and walking away with it. I mean, that's now 7 gunfights, now 8 in a row that Iron Blood have gone unanswered. 705 just reeling right now. They have so many players just enforcing and keeping themselves trapped inside the spawn. Finally, Classic at least breaks the mold, but you take a look at the rotation going over towards 2. We already have Noisy inside the LSC. Top LSC, keep in mind, you 705 reeling, trying to get themselves any sort of control.
Classic around the corner. Shots onto Assault won't be there. Daddy Adam will win the one-on-one gunfight. 33-15 now. P2 popped to the bottom of the LST ship. Diamond Con on 4 in a row over towards the flak gun is just trying to go ahead, keep the map in the possession of 705. It wasn't a great P1, but here on P2, they've got themselves a good amount of time. First 25 seconds about have gone their way, and counting now as Diamond Con will find number 5 in a row. Looking for streaks here on Gavutu early on would be probably exactly what the doctor ordered, and as Exceed flies around the corner, he'll go ahead and shut down Diamond Con. So you won't be able to get a glide bomb here early on inside of this Gavutu hardpoint, but at least you'll go ahead and get yourself some nice amount of time off of him causing some drama down over towards P1.
Yeah, and you're still holding the middle of the map if you're looking for 705. You know, that's going to immediately be able to garner a lot of success when you're thinking about the rotation from 2 to 3. Not unless Caden has anything to say about it. He does find 2. That'll at least get that scrap time back in the favor for Ironblood. It'll keep things just about even, but really got to start thinking about the rotation. How are you going to try to break this B3 setup? Because you already know that you got Persini over by that beachfront. Still going to be done on the backside of Cage. Ironblood trying to flip the spawns out of the backside of Green. They've already sent Royalty spawning out.
Oh, looking for something to the back lines. The rest of the teammates, though, will be able to find a couple of kills that'll at least allow them to get not only the spawns, but back and over towards the hardpoint. A beautiful break there off a setup from 705. Exceed now instead of the flak gun, looking for Diamond Con there. Diamond Con, though, will get the best of Exceed in this one-on-one gunfight. A couple more players now starting to fly through here for 705. Really, all you got to worry about is these ARs who are set up all the way in the back, namely Welly, who just pops a 2-piece on you. You look for Classic, who's now starting to make his way up the beach. Well, Welly will take quick care of that. That's 3 in a row. Now 4 for Welly, as Diamond Con's nade will come in up over the top. Diamond Con will fall to the hands of Welly as well. Now the conversation of streaks starts to arise here for Iron Blood.
Yeah, I mean, Sam continuing on with their antics of what we saw from map number 3 was really the overall breadwinner when it came down to the work being put in by Ironblood Gaming when had themselves a nice little 30 bomb from that game. Now on 6 in a row, 10 and 6 as you may like it through 3 hard points worth of play. Ironblood able to immediately answer back from a dominable P2 hold that 705 we're looking at, but they do lose the rotation going over towards P4. Well, he hasn't been able to find themselves that kill number 7, and they immediately call in the glide bomb. Exceed just stretched way too thin, but Welly with the glide comes in, finds 2. And Assault also pushing into the backside of the spawns for 4. What an early break coming out from Ironblood with a streak in tow.
Not only an early break, but look how far... Well, okay. Never mind. I was going to say, look how far across the map they just got spawned out, but, well, hi. How you doing? Good to see you. You've been here for a little bit. Well, glad you're here. Welcome to Clutch GG stream of the North American Challengers Elite Stage 4 regular season round robins. But, you know, Andy, well, as unfortunate as it is, and as much as we hate to lag out of games that are like that, I guess pain is the only word to describe it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is utter pain coming through. Just an unfortunate drop in the lobby. I think one player from 705 immediately just unfortunately disconnect from that lobby there. And, you know, I didn't see who it was, but regardless of the matter, I mean, Ironblood really starting to piece together a steam of momentum when you're thinking about it, right?
Yeah.
You know, they come back in. They're able to, with the initial trades going back over towards P1, they do lose the recontest going back over towards P2. And to be fair, 705 did a great job at getting themselves what felt like about 45 points off of P2. And they did initially hold for the rotation going over towards 3, but that's back-to-back hard points that we saw from the break going over towards 3 and then the recontest off the streak going over towards 4. That Ironblood Gaming were just playing really smart hard point. You know, again, they knew that they had a player for 705 that was over by the beachfront, so the flat gun wasn't going to be the immediate focus. They enforced their way on the backside of Green. No one from 705 was anchoring out that spawn. So the moment that Ironblood, they recognize we have the spawns in towards the backside of Green, they full flood in towards the back, and then Welly just goes on that massive spree, able to get themselves 8 in a row, including the one that they got with the glide bomb, once they get kill number 7, and then Assault able to break those spawns again. Ironblood Gaming just constantly berating the future with any sort of ideas and execution. We're building themselves a hefty lead there.
So I'm not exactly sure what the verdict will be here in terms of the ruling. I'm sure it'll be a map replay here, but you know, those streaks definitely were crucial at some degree, especially as they were just setting themselves up for what could have been a full 40 seconds of time there on P4, which well, really could have put them up by a good 70-80 points there on the side of 705 as the hard point kept continuing to move forward. But I mean, overall here, Andy, as we kind of just look to the outlook of this, I mean, Ironblood, they were you know, putting themselves ahead. You know, 705 on the back burner was just kind of falling off the map just a bit, not in a literal term, but figuratively, in the sense of Ironblood was just kind of investing them at every point. So, I mean, going forward, not exactly sure what it's going to mean. So while we figure everything out in the back end on the technical side, we're going to go ahead and end things to a quick break. When we come back, map number 4 on Gavutu could potentially continue. Full map replay here on Cthulhu. Hardpoint as ever. Map number 4 between these two teams. 2-1 advantage for 705 Esports. Iron Blood was up about, I'd say, like, what was it, around 80 to 50, something like that, with Welly on a 10 spree and a glide bomb to go along with it. But it is a full map replay.
Albin, just as things started off in the first, pretty damn similar as how the second the replay has gone. Just Iron Blood winning the opening engagements. Arguments being made for the scrap time here on 1. I'm kind of at least able to find 2, trying to find more. 28 HP as you like it. Sets up Persini at least for the flank there with Royalty, combines for 3 more. And well, they're cleaning up house quite wonderfully. 15 more seconds remaining. This is looking a lot better for 7-5 with the recontest here on 1. They are seemingly not losing gunfights. 7 unanswered kills between both Royalty and Diamondcon. They got pressure going over towards the cliff path, leaving VC to hold on to the rest of the scrap time, but you're leaving players like Persini get LSD control.
Already at a moment's notice, they were at a situation where they're getting spawn trapped over towards the left side of the map. 705 is poised and ready. Capitalize on what could have been a ton of time at the bottom of the LST ship, and it still could walk in their way. On the left side corner, Welly will get cut down. Classic and his SMG in hand will pick up 2. You look back and towards the bottom of the LST ship. Pertini is there. Exceed up and towards the top of the boat. But Diamondcon down below, you're looking for a couple more kills here, but no team really going for the time just yet. You're just trying to go ahead and clear everything that you possibly can out and around this point. And Diamondcon, some beautiful timing there with the pistol in hand. So, double there, back down to the bottom of the ship. 28 seconds left here. Contest is going to be in. It's going to be Adam Assault. Walks away with the gunfight.
Hardpoint will remain neutral, about 20 seconds remaining, and that's because Noisy has left their teammates behind to try to play this rotation going over towards 3. The stun comes through, doesn't actually connect on a Tyler, but, I mean, Royalty still checks it, loses the gunfight, but at least the cleanup was there from Diamondcon. That could have gotten a little bit out of hand for 705 to try to deal with it, but at least they're able to find that kill. They'll leave DC inside of the inside the lander there for 3 for the time being, but this is how Iron Blood broke it within the first set. Here, Alex, they were able to get themselves back in control, and they still have 2 players over by top ring.
Would likely be spawns all the way through the back. Almost picture perfect from what we saw throughout our first map play. Through, I guess, how to phrase that, not exactly sure. But Classic up and towards the top of the P1 ring. There's going to be there for trades. Spawns in the back, though, for 705. We're able to come through. And with 33 seconds left here, Andy, ton of time for 705 to be able to get. You also want to play spoiler here, but look for player number 7 in Royalty. Trying to make a flank and get over for P4. This is a beautiful play here from 705.
Yeah, what does that do for the spawns? But you can see Exceed actually just spawns right on top of Royalty, but Royalty just guns him. And Ironblood, yeah, I mean, they're going to fully chalk the rest of P3 because they want to make sure they at least get the spawns for one of these hard points. That's going to be the main focus going forward. You leave Exceed towards top ship. Trying to find a couple players on the rotation, but 705, you're going to be feeling pretty darn skippy with that play that happened over by P3. The kills came through for Ironblood, but they do not block out the spawns. All 705 still spawn in 4-3. They're able to walk away with an abundance of time. Got themselves about a 20-point lead to play with before they can fully break into 4.
Fully down below. Walks away with the kill on the Royalty. Pinstripe kill feed. 64-71. Ironblood starting to get their way back in towards this map. Climbing closer and closer towards that eventual lead. Royalty will snap one in towards the point. Just as quickly as they got back towards that lead. 705 have broken on in. Everybody dead now for the side. 705. Ironblood. Gonna get some good time off of this hill here. Noisy, unfortunate there. The timing just does not go in his favor. 20 seconds of scrap time here left to play for. 705. Well, hopefully this time you'll go ahead and find that rotation in your favor. Should have been there last time, but W squad spawns.
Spawn still in. Very good pushback for Ironblood at 705. We're knocking at the door continuously. Not even a single point will be allowed for 705 over on P4. Ironblood walking away with a solid 45 and not 50. Themselves at 101. Looking at the rotation over towards 5. Firm handshake says you like it. 705 at least able to showcase that they have won the rotation. They have the positioning, but they're not able to turn this into at least the initial 20 points here on P5. They're going to Assault to worry about. Top LSC is able to find a big gunfight on the Classic. That'll set up Noisy's position wonderfully coming down the concrete stairs.
All around the corner. Royalty wins the one-on-one gunfight. SMG's up close. Exceed going to be there. 3 kills go the way of Ironblood, but it's 2 back on the other side of 705. Up and towards the top, Classic. AR in hand, tries to jump around the corner. Looks for Welly, but as Assault and Welly on top of the LST ship are trying to go ahead and berate this point with nades and stuns alike. It's very difficult to get any time here at the bottom of P5. Ironblood still with themselves the advantage by about 16 points.
Really feel like that. It's just one good hard point away from Welly Assault, just with the game that they've been having, as well as Noisy. 17-9 for them. Really start running away with this game. Just about a 26-point lead. Just as Gavutu as you may like it. Just very tough, difficult. Able to break in for a decent amount of time of what you saw from 3 out of 705. But in towards the second set, good kills coming through for 705. They'll at least be able to sustain for now. These 2 players that are up here, it's Royalty, Diamondcon, the last players alive for 705 on the rotation over towards New. They'll put themselves over 100 points with the initial 20 here on 1.
Good initial diversion in top of the ring. A lot of pinch play to come through that sets 705 up to get that first about 30 seconds of time. Fighting their way through and through here at the top of P1. Pinstripe kill feed yet again. Beautiful trades back and forth between both of the teams. Right now, 705 at the forefront of it. Adam Assault's going to be there around that right side. Diamondcon tries to go for it, but the stun is going to weaken him up and unfortunately not allow him to walk away. Welly with a double there and towards the top of the P1 ring is going to allow them to get that last 10 seconds of scrap time to go in their favor. Bottom of the LST ship, though. White Arrow is going to be there. Ironblood Gaming coming off the spawn on the right side of your mini-map. See if they can win their one-on-one gunfights to get back over towards the point, at least for the time being. Adam Assault's there for the 1.
Yeah, the zoning is absolutely pristine, but I mean, the gunfights need to be there as well. Welly with another double kill. Gonna put themselves up on 4 in a row. How good has this guy been for this Ironblood Gaming roster, even from Toronto as well? On Hardpoint specifically, has been posting a beautiful 1.39 overall KD with about 65% true engagement success rate. 65% of the time, Welly's getting engagement. It's either garnering a kill or an assist. 30 points as far as the lead. Pristini starting to heat things up, though. 13-17, not the sexiest KD ratio for Preston, but those 3 emphatic kills will at least put 705 in a position to be able to contest 2.
Aggressive gunfight there while on 6 HP, but as Diamondcon finds a double. You look back to the spawn side to try and maybe find one more. Welly in the bottom of the point. Classic's going to be there. Diamondcon didn't even need the help there to win the one-on-one. Adam Assault around the right side. Noisy there for another trade. He'll find 2 himself. So, top of the LST ship now secured. Bottom is 2. Another 10 seconds of scrap time from Ironblood. Very scrappy congestion hill down towards the bottom of the LST ship. We'll find ourselves all the way out over towards P3, where 705 have found themselves set up. The residential home for P3.
Yeah, and they were able to get themselves, what, about like 45 points off of P3 because Ironblood Gaming struggled to be able to upset the spawns. And, well, I mean, I think that Noisy might have thought that they did enough in towards the back. Yeah, they're going to be able to break the hard point, but, I mean, Assault's going to get welcomed with an unfortunate surprise that 705 is still very much so spotting at the backside of green, so they'll have reinforcements for this hard point. Mixy, as you may like it, this is not a lot of time going over towards either of these two teams. The beam out from Connor. Diamondcon's going to be able to at least get themselves on this E3 hardpoint for the time being with reinforcements right behind them, keeping ourselves just about a dead even game.
3 different players negative on the side of 705. You look to the other side, Slang has been better for Ironblood, hence was the lead. Now, it changes into the different direction. 705 will go ahead and find themselves a lead change here late inside of this second set of rotations. We're over towards P4 now, where the rotational spawn is going to be set up for Ironblood. They've got 3 players now set up. You got 1 player still on the top of the ring. You're just looking for Pristini, who's found his way all the way through as he finds 2 kills. That could very well flip out the spawns in the favor of 705.
Now, you still have Pristini back here trying to at least flip out the spawns, and there it comes in. Royalty spawns in. Ironblood should be more than aware of this. They're still spawning onto the bottom side of the cliff path, so they have to be able to win these gunfights. Upright Assault, able to find a big 2. But they're still running towards the back. Classic is back there. That'll keep the spawns intact for 705 here on 4.
Diamondcon 5 in a row. Exceed tries to challenge around the corner, cuts down the streaking player of 705. That's big if you want to go ahead and prohibit any use of utility later on in the game. But unfortunately, at the same time, it's going to cross that 200-point mark. 200, 168, 72, or excuse me, a 32-point lead here for the side of Ironblood Gaming as they try to find their way back in here towards the point. All the way still in the back, though. Spawns for 705. You're trying your damnedest to go ahead and hold them out here, making sure you can't win the gunfights, but a team nade there could be costly. 2 players now stacking the point. 10 seconds of scrap time. That's a big 10, but the rotation to Ironblood over towards B5.
That's the difference in between both our teams being over 200 points and just 705 building themselves about a 40-point lead. That's one of the biggest leads that we've had so far for 705 across both the iterations of Gavutu Hardpoint. Ironblood previously held it. Going away from P4, it was really good for them in the first set, but now they have to hold their rotation going over towards 5. You already have players trying to zone away the top and bottom of LSC. Noisy is also showing focus over towards top ring. They'll be traded out. You got players in the backside of green, and that's pressure that Ironblood were not set up for. 705 with an early break.
There's a double through the front. Exceed will fall. Pristini is going to be there. 220, 193. Spawns flip out across the map. Ironblood's going to be on the outside looking in. 2 good kills, though. Still spawns close for 705. Diamondcon laying down. Exceed to the top of green's able to find 1. Assault has to play passive and will be able to get and walk away with a kill. Diamondcon snaps back around the right side. Won't be able to find an Ironblood. They break in at the perfect time, but with 15 seconds left, there is a ton of time to go ahead and find their stake with here. It's a difference between 705 having a crazy lead going back over to P1 or them being able to just hang on for long enough. Shot's going to be there. Not going to be able to find it. Hip fire in a rotation over towards P1.
They're going to force a rotation, yeah, but it's just 12 points are all 705 need. 1 good break is all that is required. You already have Pristini trying to zone away the middle of the map. Willie will be watching that cross while the other players take a keen focus over towards the beachfront and inside the ring.
212, 238. 5%. 12 seconds is all they need. Beautiful double there from Adam Assault, though. Will shut any hope of that down, at least at the beginning. Now from the ramp, you have to look for the 2 players coming on through. Diamondcon for 2. Pristini with 1 Exceed, having to save the map for his team. At the moment, it will. He'll find the double. The reinforcements now coming up the staircase. They're trying their might to go ahead and hold them out inside the middle of the ring. Royalty plays ring around the rosy. We'll be able to find it. Double there for Royalty. Now you look for number 3. Oh, Royalty. You look for the final 1 inside of the bottom of the ring. Oh, Royalty. Oh, 4. Looks for 5. Can't get it. 242, 224. 705 winning the gunfights. Adam Assault and Exceed have to go huge here. Diamondcon wins the gunfight. Assault around the corner will fall. 705 in the second hardpoint go around. Will take it to the side of Ironblood as they will find themselves a 26-point win and a 3-1 series victory.
It was the continuous amount of holds. They kept on catching Ironblood out, just absolutely dry, trying to play for the spawns over by 3. They are able to walk away with about 100 of their 250 earn off of P3 alone, and then the break going over towards P4, which is so massive. Pristini being able to find that 1 and then just holding the angle, knowing that they were blocking out the spawns, really did it for me there, Alex, that they were constantly able to hold on the backside of P4. But then you also take a look at P5 being able to quite literally force their hand across ring and through LSD ship. I cannot spell out to you just how much blind trust that does matter for 705 to send 2 players over by ring, 2 players over by LSD. To only lose 1 life on the rotation to be able to then spawn trap all of Ironblood on the backside of green was one thing. The spawns didn't end up flipping, and Ironblood made an argument for you to be able to at least contest the scrap time there on 5, and did a great job to at least force the rotation going over towards 1, but how can you ever just sleep on Mr. Saga Royalty? Coming back in, MP40 in hand to be able to find all 4 players. Just was running quite literally in circles inside ring on P1, found themselves a full 4-man feed, was able to break back in, spawns flipped, all of Ironblood spawning on the backside of P3 essentially. And then you just had all of that 705 Esports roster just play corners, just knowing that the contest had to come through as quickly as it possibly did. What a turnaround after being down 40 points from that stretch from 3-4-5, and then the break coming through from Royalty off that 4-man feed. Play of the game for sure.
Absolutely. Oh my god. Oh, dude, that was a crazy ending to Gavutu. It's not my favorite map in the world, but when we get moments like those, it definitely...
Royalty went 19-34. And then he found, that was his highest streak, by the way, was that 4 spree at the end. It really goes to show, because you can even look from top to bottom, that Ironblood, throughout the majority of that hardpoint, was quite literally outslaying the living hell out of 705 Esports, but never dealt with DC in the back. Only had 5 traded kills, went 31-16, where everybody else on their team went so dastardly negative, barring Prestigi's -1. It just goes to show that finding the right kills at the right time, winning the rotations, being able to hold other players at bay from breaking hardpoints continuously is the big stark difference in between that second set of hardpoints and the first for 705. What the hell is this stat line?
Dude, that is...
What?
Bro goes almost double negative.
Yeah,
and walks away with the play of the game.
Yeah, my EKIA looks better. I didn't find all the true kills, but I found the 4 that mattered.
Just got more damage. Oh my god. Wow. That right there, that was a series. That was a series. 3-1 for the side of 705 Esports. Some very happy Canadians walking away from this one. The Berlin Control there in map number 3 was the shining light there for the side of Ironblood. I'm definitely sure they want that first playthrough of Gavutu back for themselves to see what they could have done off the back half of it, but things happen on the technical side, and 705 will walk away with this series 3-1. That actually puts them 3-1 inside of the elite stage thus far here proper, which will now give them a pretty good advantage going here out through the rest of throughout the rest of the elite. That's a pretty big one though right there against Ironblood, because a head-to-head against Ironblood, that could be something to talk about, when we get into the point where we're talking about our Final Four in the playoffs, because these two teams are a very close matchup when it comes to the other teams that they play against.
Yeah, I mean, 705 walking away from their placings over at Toronto, a lot of consideration coming through, like, it was a great placing, but are we going to see any changes for this roster? Not necessarily as far as the players, but as far as the play style is concerned, this team is really starting to come to their own, and is walking away just from this day 2 of round robin play alone. 705, they beat D1 yesterday, should have absolutely been a match that they wanted to walk away with, and they lost the map 5, another matchup that you thought that would have been as closely as competitive as it was to destroy the odds. But you're able to finish out 2-0 on this day for a resounding 3-1 overall for this round robin group stage that is here for 705 here in season 4 of the Elite. Now you're looking towards 3 Kings, Ultra Academy North America, and whatever it takes. You really do feel like for 705 to solidify themselves as a playoff team, one of those wins versus the top 3 teams that we have here in Challengers Elite so far need to come through with a dub. Without being able to beat one of them, destiny is again out of your hands. But they have shown tremendous strides on this day to be able to play with a certain amount of confidence and a gusto that we ended up seeing from themselves. 100-point club on Ironblood on Tuscan Hardpoint is nothing to scoff off. Considering what I saw from Classic yesterday, comparatively to what he was doing today, if they continue to play like that, I think it's going to be really difficult for teams such as even Ultra Academy North America, who just lost to whatever it takes, 0-3 by the way, to really kind of meet that pace and those strides that 705 were setting today.
Yeah, I mean, throughout the entirety of not just today, but yesterday, Stage 4 has already proven to be just as chaotic as we all kind of had thought it was going to be coming into this. We have a lot of competition here inside of Stage 4, a lot of teams that want to make it to the end of the year for Challengers Finals. If there's really kind of one word here to use to describe the entirety of Challengers right now, it's urgency. You need to go right now, because this is going to be the last couple of weeks leading up to Challengers Finals. With the formatting that we have right now, there's not really going to be much movement, at least we kind of think, between those top couple of teams. But if there's one team that's on the outside looking in that might be able to cause an upset there, or maybe move there and work their way up into the top 4, it just might be whatever it takes. So that's one of those teams to look out for. But that's going to do it for our coverage here of day 2 of week 1 of Stage 4 of the North American Challengers Elites. You can find us back here next week on Tuesday. Coverage will start for European region and then go to North America later on in the day, and that will be for day 3 and 4 on Tuesday and Wednesday. If you want to go ahead and check out where that will be live as well for the mainstream, that'll be youtube.com/COD Challengers. But in the meantime, my name is Ben McCormiel, proper on the desk as well as Sport on production. Thank you for watching and tuning in to tonight's coverage of our North American Challengers Elite Stage 4. We'll hope to see you back next week on Tuesday.